Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to ZSR and welcome to the final conclusion to the OT Randomizer Standard Tournament Season 4 Grand Finals Game 2. And it's actually about time that we find out who is gonna win this tournament, who is gonna be the fourth champion of OTR, TheSaltySponge, Jimbo himself, or what the hell's happened. I know you all can't wait. We're already 500 people in here. I know you want to see the action. We're only 2 minutes out, but I don't want to talk anymore. I'll just hand it over to our beautiful commentary team, to Chimp and Reeve, to Emo Soda, and to Yoshikion. Take it away.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Season 4 Grand Finals. The actual Grand Finals this time, not the practice round that was yesterday. We have the final match of Season 4. I'm super excited, as many of you hopefully heard during the Gossip Stone Live previous segment. And yeah, let's go. Massive hype.
Let's go. I'm so ready for this. Like, these two have... we obviously, you all spoke about this not long ago, but like, pretty much everybody predicted at least one of these two to make finals. I couldn't have asked for much better for this, honestly. And going to the game 3, going to the final game, effectively.
As every season should do, it goes to a game 3. So yeah, massively excited for this one. Can't call it. I literally can't decide it. They're both 1-1 each. So at this point, I'm just going to enjoy the ride. No predictions, no expectations. I'm just going to enjoy everything that I watch and get crazily overhyped about it like a typical Brit would.
This will be cool to see. I'm pretty chill, though.
So, funnily enough, you're talking about the challenge predictions during the podcast. I took a quick look. There were 2 people who had What the Hell's on Sponge in grand finals. It was only Lord Xenu and FMZ Gun were the only 2 who had these 2 in grands, and both of them had What the Hell's winning.
Lord Xeno I get, but FMZ was in the tourney. Come on, FMZ, have some more faith. You did really well. All right, the prediction poll is up. Let's get spending those ZSR points. We are 10 seconds away. Where are we dropping, everyone? We start as adult. We start with Zora Sapphire. We start with Song of Time. But where are we going to land? It's in front of 3 bricks. Let's go.
All right, that's pretty good, right? As spawns go.
Someone, second song almost immediately. Definitely not going to complain about that.
Right.
Sponge immediately. Sponge finding out the Sacred Forest Meadow is Way of the Hero, which is where What the Hell's Happened is now heading. But Sponge is in Mido's house. Let's see if he's hoarding anything today. There is... Anyone want to say it? Anyone want to...
No, I don't. I don't.
Letter, look at Letter.
It's not on my bingo card, so I'm not going to say it. Sorry, everyone.
Fair shout, it was vanilla, which is at least good. I'll give that.
And 50 Skulls is dead. On What the Hell's side.
Yeah, King Zora dead.
So dead. So let's
That's
see.
That's what you love to see, right? Yeah, fuck that guy.
Horrible King Zora. No Rose Letter, Paradox Letter shenanigans. Because we already have it. And he's dead. So that's even better.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. That's Sun's song on our Sacred Forest Meadow, Way of the Hero.
Huh?
Interesting. You've got to think that it's going to be the child song at this point, or the Wolfos grow. But at least we can leave SFM earlier.
Kokiri, Way of the Hero. Yeah, not always the greatest one to see. You know, like, one of those ones where by the time you see it, you're probably like, well, this is irrelevant anyway. Who cares?
Yeah, I mean... To be fair, we have found Letter, and I guess that's one of the more useful Way of the Hero items, just because of if Jabu is a stone, it means that it could be ice, or vice versa. Well, ice can't be a stone, but, you know, if ice gets hindered, or anything, something like that, you know that Letter is a relatively decent Way of the Hero item.
Mm-hmm.
I have just realised I have no one's audio up, so let's fix that.
Oh yeah, same.
just watching it in silence, so let's fix that one up. Okay, so What the Hells is ahead.
Yeah, Sponge tried a fancy setup for the jump up to SFM, and it just didn't quite work the first couple tries there. So, and I guess going down to Mido's first, and then having to go back up was kind of just slower overall there.
Yeah, so technically the more effective route from What the Hells. As we head into market, and because we have Suns, there is literally no issue with any time of day shenanigans this seed, so that's really helpful for early routing and early planning. We can go wherever we want to. We can get horrible checks like downpay digging nice and early if we want to.
Those votes, by the way, the predictions right now, 1.4 million each.
Yeah.
Like, almost perfectly split. Incredible.
Yeah, I think we're going to see both players go to Cat Graveyard. They're already adults, on the way to going child. Your spawn kind of sucks. And being basically just so deep in the lost votes. Unless you get your bomb bag, you're not going to do a whole lot else at this point in the scene. It's just too risky.
Oh, Trez has been summoned.
I was here just like a minute ago.
Discord
again.
Can't get enough.
Can't get enough of me. I mean, I get it, but like... So, who's winning, by the way?
What the hell's is winning?
Yeah, what the hell?
I can state that with 100% certainty, because they are just slightly ahead on execution, so there we go. What the hell's is winning?
So, thanks for watching, everybody, then. We're gonna raid over to ZSR 2, where we have the beta quest winner bracket semifinals.
Let's go.
Hope you'll enjoy the tournament. Yeah.
That's it, we already said who's winning. That's it. That's all that matters.
What the hell is this? He's picking up a slingshot here. It's apparently raiding over. And Serenade, okay, on Song of Storms. Pretty good pickup.
Nice. I like finding Serenade, even if it isn't important, so that is useful.
Well, it's on our way, right, of going towards child segment, so I think if you're going to find a song, you'd rather find the Serenade. It's going to speed up your child segment, your way back to adult, if you don't get Prelude, so assuming where your child spawn is, I mean, it could be somewhere terrible, or it could be somewhere pretty good.
Definitely a weird... Sorry, Yoshi, go on.
I was going to say it's one of the best reasons that people will skip Valley as well, is like, people want to do Valley Lake, but you can do Valley as adult, you can at least peek those. So if you get Serenade, you just go straight to the lake and walk over to Kakiri Forest. Perfect.
Yeah, I 100% agree with that. I mean, I still would go Valley myself, but I can see the reason for skipping it too.
What I will say is that this is a really... I don't think I've ever seen this weird a song selection after 3 songs. You've got Time, Suns, and Serenade. It's like... It's both really good and really terrible.
Yeah, lots of utility, but no...
Yeah, it gets you absolutely nothing. But it's also really convenient, so... Bizarre set of songs there, but at least we get to rule out Sun Song being Wave the Hero, as What the Hells just finds a heart container, so likely going to be that child song or the grotto. What the Hell struggles to check the crate, which is another heart container. So, not much so far. Looks like we're probably going to head back as child for both of them. Would you agree? Although yesterday, we actually did see a little bit of a deviation, which gave What the Hell's a bit of an advantage, with What the Hell's going up to DMC just to check that one item. So I'm curious as to whether they'll do it again, or whether they'll just head back as adult. Head back to child. Sponge doing the same. What do you think?
The time of day is a big factor here. Like, they've both got it to just turn today. So...
They both have suns, though, right?
True, but if you can avoid spending the time playing it, you want to. Yeah. I think the big thing is that the DMT route is really good early as a way to get into the market as child around. Like, that's usually a pretty good time for market checks, or a good time for burning some time, basically. I don't see much of a reason to do it here. especially given where their spawn is, they've got really good access to Goron City later and can come down that way. Possible, but unlikely, I think.
Speaking of burning, we have our Goron tunic off Dumpe there, and another bottle. So Ice Cavern looking okay with bottles there. It means that we don't need to worry about burning to a crisp in Fire Temple. No idea how dungeons just yet, but it's I as much as I hate getting baited with Wave the Hero for things like tunics, I'm certainly not going to say no to one if I find one. Just a little bit of a peace of mind knowing that I'm not going to fry when I head into Fire Temple or DMC.
Yeah, there are actually some merits to getting it this early as well. You just equip it during one of the menus and it saves that Navi text box, which will stop you opening your menu. So the time kind of makes up for itself in equipping it, and you've got that added convenience of having it.
And you essentially never need to change it again at that point, because you rarely ever need to wear the Zora tunic unless you have the earliest water dip you've ever seen.
Yeah, I'm not surprised what the hell's not going to check top of DC item today. Makes a lot of sense just in terms of overall routing. You don't want to waste the time going up there if it's like very clearly you should go child now. So I think this is a pretty good play.
Yeah, and I think Rob mentioned in chat that yesterday DMT was hinted with the hero, so it gave them a bit more inspiration to do so. So Fortress is foolish. 30 is a bomb bag. Okay.
Will it be needed, though?
That's the annoying number, though, isn't it? Like, if it's 50, You're like, well, fuck it. I'm never getting that, so that's fine. 40, again, like, well, I'm never going to need that. But 30, you do have to consider it. All right. We do not love Waterstone because it is our spirit medallion. Can't remember all of the temples we just read out.
I think it's spirits and Deku.
Deku apparently, yeah. So
Yeah.
pretty spicy ones. One that's really dense and one that has the most, like, the highest number of checks in the game. So two that you kind of want to go to if you get access to them, but I mean, in that case, you'd almost be happy to see a relevant song on all dungeons at this point.
Yeah, I mean, it'd make any of the bomb bag a lot easier as a decision, right? Because you'd be like, okay, well, I can go to this dungeon. If it's AD anyway, I might as well just dip, right? I'm gonna have to do it anyway. Kind of a thing. So I could totally see that for sure. I think the runners are probably pretty happy it's not bow on 30 skulls, because that's even more dubious of items that are
ambiguous ones like magic, and you're just like, oh, am I able to get the second one, or is it going to be magic locked? Yeah, there's definitely worse things to see. A bomb bag, I think, most of the time, you'll happily just go without for a while. If you find a wallet, you can just buy bomb shoes. If you find a decent number of bomb shoes, you're fine. Obviously, there's 2 other bomb bags to find. But, yeah, definitely one that gets more and more worrying the further you go. And obviously ramps up if you see Market Way of the Hero.
early bottle's going to make that a little bit more appetizing as a check. I mean, I think they're both going to get 10, 20. So if you only have to get 10 more for your first bomb bag, it's not the worst thing in the world either.
And What the Hells was actually quite skull aggressive yesterday. They didn't hesitate to get skulls at all and ended up having a lot more than Sponge when they first went to collect their 10 skull hint. But then also didn't find skull 18 for like an hour. they were set on 17 for what can I pretty much from like 1.5 hours to 2.5 hours.
I think it's just like feeling out the matchup a little bit. I think Sponge would be considered more of a skull dodger than anything, at least historically, But I don't know. I think What the Hells is a lot more pro skull in general too. At the same time, so I think Sponge is just kind of trying to make up that yesterday with that. I mean, I think a lot of it was just routing too. Overall, it's not really necessarily, how you're perceived as a player. Although it has an effect in matchups like this, especially when it's only one opponent.
Okay, we've got our fire arrows from Richard the Dog as What the Hells decides to talk to the man on the balcony, which I don't think I have ever witnessed.
I was about to. I didn't know you could talk to the guy from there. That's
But that was
that's a long range.
It's the same thing like with Rudo, right? If you just hold Z and you're like basically in eyesight, you can talk to her wherever.
Oh, jeez.
Meanwhile, just to confirm, I don't think we actually mentioned that Bigoron, I think, was dead from the hits in the temple, and Sungrave was also hinted dead. So that's fun.
Frogs
And
2 also dead.
Frogs as well. So Sunsong completely useless. It's definitely that other song.
Never going to commentate Frogs 2C. This is never going to happen. But oh well. That was on my bingo card, so I'm not going to complain.
It's already kind of. I mean, you're saying the Suns is useless, but it's already saved. What the hell is at least 30 seconds, right?
Oh, yeah.
Sorry, useless in terms of useless in terms of the way the hero.
Yeah.
Give me songs as the starting song every time, and I'll never complain.
No, it's definitely the worst starting song.
Songs?
Yeah.
Song of Time.
Really?
Song of Time is 100%.
It's one of the best starting songs, man. I'm a big fan of that.
I don't know. I'm still not convinced on it. I'd still rather have Song of Time, like in the dark, just because if you're gonna have Sun's OT, what are the chances you're gonna have to go get that, right? I say that, but you know.
So you clearly haven't watched the early quals. We find ice arrows right after fire arrows, so light arrows in the back of the stables. Let's go, 3 for 3. It's really Majora's Mask it up.
Also, I focused on what the hell's there and I missed Sponge's side. Was this a save warp location that got here? I assume that was into Darunia's room?
You don't have a way in, so...
Yeah. So that's an
Spawn is
interesting child spawn. That's a really cool one, actually.
Yeah,
I don't think I've seen that before. Yeah.
Papa, so...
Oh, yeah. And
I think, was it DMC? Because I've seen DMC before.
Right. And so come out in Darunia's room.
Right,
Gotcha.
okay.
using the stick to open up the shortcut to get to Kukuri Forest. Good play.
And also makes your adult spawn even better because now you can.
Oh my god! Light arrows in the box!
What, chimp?
Are you fucking serious?
How?
What the hell is that?
What cool? What a cool!
Into lights back to back.
Oh,
Are you
God.
serious? What on
That's
earth?
incredible.
Alright, I'm done. I'm retiring as comms. That's as best as I'm ever going to get. So, good night, everyone. Fuck me. What the hell was that?
Ooh,
Yes. Ooh.
hook in the sword chest.
Way the hero.
It is Way the Hero, Forest, yeah. I mean,
Meanwhile-
not the letter already was, but now it could be double.
Yeah, meanwhile, what else is in Crater's Child? You don't see that very often.
Also in a bit of trouble here. So, gonna reset and probably head through Goron City now. Do the same as Sponge, I reckon. As we see Dodongo's Cavern wave the hero.
Huge hint.
Still no explosives, no chews. We know where a bomb bag is.
Okay,
Uh,
not gonna get paid out on that one. I was gonna
Oh,
say
that's-
that could have been a huge difference though. That What the Hell's went to Lon Lon first and had Saria's, whereas Sponge just went straight from Market, so it doesn't have that yet.
Vanilla
Still paying off.
Slingshot.
We got Skull Kid coming up here. And we know that the child song at SFM is going to be Way the Hero, most likely, unless it's going to be something in the Wolfos Grotto. So, what the hell is going to be doing the exact same thing, going into the shortcut here, using that stick? We'll see if he goes for the sword chest, or if he goes... I think he might go straight to SFM, Sun's back, and then go get to the sword chest, and then maybe warp away from there, possibly.
I'd agree.
Oh, or just gonna go for it. I mean, it is Way of the Hero, so it could be Bomb Bag, for instance, in which case you definitely want to get that before you go to SFM, so you can get all these checks along the way. Makes a lot of sense.
Kind of works. You get to play Suns and essentially walk back to the entrance regardless of which way you go, so it's fine. Just you've got to think of where next.
probably a bit safer to go for this line.
I guess in general, there's a bit of a where next at this point because they're getting the songs, but like Hookshot, weirdly, for being one of the most important items in the game, Hookshot on its own opens up pretty much nothing.
Yeah, I mean, it gets you across into fire and it gets you into forest, but without some supplementary items, as you say, it doesn't really do a ton. It opens up Adult Lake, which has been known to troll us a few times. So yeah, it sort of helps open up some things, but you always need some supplementary things to.
Yeah, it's really minimal amounts. Yeah, and I think the biggest thing is going to be that bomb bag on 30. Like at this point, that's in. Like that's just straight up in at this point.
Yep. Mm-hmm. As we find Nocturne in Sacred Forest Meadow. And Sponge is going to Lake, which I think is fine. I think it's a reasonable play here. I was going to say maybe Valley into Lake is the next play, like open Grotto into Valley into Lake sort of thing, because we don't really have too much else to do immediately. But this is fine. I wonder if Sponge is going to skip Valley because they've warped to Lake here.
Possible. I mean, I think going Lake first over your like Nocturne Warp. Obviously, you want to be able to set up Dampe. I think that has a lot to do with it. Like you don't want to have to 2-trip Graveyardist Child. So, kind of choosing this beforehand makes a lot of sense to me. And you can kind of just set that up. What if you get something on Child Fishing, Open Grotto Field? Obviously, you want to do your Sphere Zeros. You still have the option of going to Valley still, though. You can just play Serenade, take the Owl, go to Valley. I mean, it's right there. Not really a whole lot else going on for the routers here. I mean, they got Hookshot. They can stare at this Rudo's letter that they can't turn in yet. Outside of that, they don't even have a wallet. They can't go with opponents they don't even have. So it really just not a whole lot open to them right now.
I want to say, by the way, this is really, really nice time of day routing for Sponge. Obviously, again, just to avoid playing Sunsong as much as possible. He's had it just turn to day right now, so he's presumably going to leave fishing, play Serenade again, go over to the Owl, walk to Lon Lon, get everything in there, and then walk back over to the market from there.
I don't know if you skip Open Grotto here. I'd be curious as to whether he's going to do that.
That's fair. That's a good point, actually, yeah.
That's the sort of one lingering check you've got to think about right now, because, again, you don't have many items to do much else. So you do have to think about that. And it looks like they are heading over to Open Grotto.
Yeah, it makes sense. I mean, Sphere Zero is just a collection of checks that you always want to be doing pretty much every seed. I mean, it's just only gotten better, too, with Season 4, and with Deku being closed. So trying to skip over Open Grotto Field, it's just a really bad check in general. It's kind of awkwardly placed in the world. It's just not really close to any dungeon at all. Takes a couple minutes to get there from anywhere, more or less. So,
and this still leaves comfortably enough time to Serenade, get the Owl, go to Lon Lon, Serenade again, get the Owl, go to Temple of Time.
Yep. Yeah, like you're saying, this lack of Sunsong playing is definitely going to save a couple seconds here and there, but it adds up every time you play it. So we even saw that at the very beginning of this match. Sponge going to Kakariko, just waiting like maybe 5 seconds instead of playing Suns. I mean, things like that can definitely add up. Yeah, not surprised. I mean, it's either you go adult now and you have to come back here later, like 20, 30 minutes after the fact, or you just go there, bite the bullet. He knows that the What the Hells is probably going to go Valley, most likely. So I think that has a lot to do with it as well.
And I guess, like, in terms of logic, we're looking at, okay, the bomb bag, but 2 checks in Forest, 2 checks in Adult Lake, 2 checks here? There's not a ton of stuff, I guess Dampe, there's not a ton of stuff available.
Nope. Yeah, we are quite limited. No more songs to get either, so... Oh no, we can get the song in Crater, which might unlock something.
In terms of short-term checks, Valley actually ends up being pretty high up here, which I feel like a lot of people will tend to skip it until you get Eponas or at least adult access, but yeah, definitely a reasonable thing to check now and get it out of the way and get that early hint information as well.
Yeah, I think What the Hell's is going to do exactly the same. That's what Sponge is doing here, so I think they definitely both agree with you, as we see just 5 rupees in the crate, and let's see if we can peek anything in the waterfall. It looks to be... it's something.
What the hell?
Nuts.
Could
It
not
kind of
see what
I
that
see a
was.
bit of a gold glimmer. I'm not quite sure what it is.
Choose,
There's
apparently.
something with gold on it.
Well, that
Oh,
is
yeah.
a huge run.
Okay.
That is a huge run.
That's a big deal. Didn't see the hint in the What the Hell's red then.
That was water foolish.
Oh, okay.
Oh, wow.
Very nice.
Goodbye,
Sponge
Dark Link.
is probably not going to read that. Which may or may not be a big deal. It is a medallion. You've got to do it anyway, but we'll see if it pays off. There is another Kokiri Forest, Way of the Hero.
Can that Nocturne warp hint? Doesn't want to repeat of yesterday.
Yeah, definitely want to get that in early. I don't think it's double Way of the Hero, Banana Lord. I think it is single so far, but that is our second version.
Yeah, we'll see if there's another Water Foolish somewhere else. I would suspect probably. It might not matter even at this point. It's really going to matter in like an hour from now when they might have the items to go do that. So we'll see how it kind of shakes out here.
Mm-hmm. Still missing some important hints though. We still don't know what is on Ocarina of Time. Still waiting for a one further Way of the Hero. Don't know what's on 40 Skulls, if I recall.
Sponge read that one in Valley. That's gone at this point.
Oh,
So,
40. Okay.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's just that Way of the Hero, the Ocarina of Time, and then a bunch of the sometimes hints at this point.
Okay, so we've got 10 choose, which is fine. It's not as good as 20, but it is much better than 5. So yeah, now you have to start thinking about that bomb bag. I mean, obviously you can bypass it now you found some choose, but yeah, you do have to genuinely consider whether that bomb bag is going to be first logical.
Mm-hmm. And the big thing with logic a lot of the time is like, how much do you care? Like, you always want to keep it in mind, but you never want to play completely to it. I had no idea there was a bugs here that What the Hell's is grabbing here.
Yeah, I didn't know that either.
No idea they were there. So I've got to imagine Sponge's next play and What the Hell's will presumably do it, you know, after presumably doing the similar things Sponge is doing now. Donongo's Cavern. Like, best location in the game at this point.
Ooh.
Ooh.
Okay.
It does nothing for us, but...
But yeah, best location in the game, and Way of the Hero, just to really cap it off. Like, you have to get to DC as soon as you can at this point, I think.
Yeah, I agree. Sponge is just going to go long on Ranch and then essentially do that, I think, in my opinion. What the Hell's... I can't see them doing anything different. So.
Yeah. I don't know if he's going to be as aggressive with the skulls here as Sponge. I mean... Gotta be thinking, like, when are you going to be Child again? You already know that the bomb bag could be first on 30 as well. You don't really want to be scumming bomb choose when you can just get a bomb bag. So it's going to be interesting to see how Sponge routes these skulls in. I mean, he's already got a hook shot. It's going to be really good overall. I mean, with your save warp so close to Forest, I would imagine a Forest dip might be on the way for Sponge. But, I mean, we'll see what direction he goes here. Meanwhile, What the Hell is getting the Valley Skull? You don't see that very often, especially in 30 Skull Seeds, if it is a 30 Skull Seed.
I guess the merit for both of them is they're going to be pushing towards 10 and 20 anyway, to some extent. You know, how much you prioritize it might change, but with that bomb bag on 30, there's just that extra incentive to push to at least 10 and 20 a little earlier, just in case you don't find another bomb bag and Bombchu Bowling, you know, starts to creep into things.
Okay, so What the Hell's just following Sponge here. Of course, What the Hell's does have a Lon Ranch over Sponge, so I dare say they're pretty much tied at this point. But yeah, just going to get the rest of those skulls. He's going to have a couple more, I think, just based off what they've done already. But not enough to be a massive advantage right now. Sponge needing to play Sun Song at least once to get into Ranch here. Is going to find a couple of sets of magical arrows, which I still cannot fucking believe was a thing.
Did you see if Sponge saved before using those bomb shoes? I don't think he did, right? I think he just...
I don't think so, no.
I don't. To be fair, I think at this point you'd have reset already, because saving and then going into Ranch just means you're never going to scum those. So
Right.
I think one of the problems is there's not really a good place to save reset back to around here. So, like, Dodongo's Cavern is an amazing place to save Scum Bomb Shoes, because you can, save at the entrance, go through, do all the checks on the way up, and then if you get nothing, you can just reset back down and use the bomb shoes to light the eyes from the bottom, and only use, 3 to beat the whole dungeon as opposed to all of them on the way up. And, if you save in DC, you can go up and do Goron City and things like that. But from Kakariko, you don't really want to walk up to DC just to save Scum Chews, and you don't want to, leave the check until later in case it's important. I think it's just an efficiency thing at this point, is the 2 chews aren't worth the time it would take to save them.
So Chaz reminded me of something here. Sponge has Suns and has just done Kakariko, but has chosen to skip chickens. And of course, you could just play Suns and you get chickens done whilst you're there. So, does What the Hells do that? Do we think that they're going to play Suns and do chickens at this point? It's the opportunity to do so.
Again, I think there's a chance to, but I don't think it's likely. What I would expect at this stage is that you wait until a little further into the seed, basically to see Song of Storms. If you get Song of Storms, then that's your perfect opportunity, because you're never coming back here after that.
Well, notably, What the Hells is on 10 skulls, whereas Sponge left without 10, so we will see the check right now. Alas.
Oh, he's playing Suns.
It's his son.
Wow. It is, isn't it?
For it.
It's definitely chickens, or it's just the best way back to market. Just playing it now.
Keeping us on our toes here.
Yeah. Entrance one first, or
Is he going to pick it
leaving?
up?
He's doing it!
He's going for it.
Well, I respect this. I completely respect it, chickens.
The thing is, this has to be the biggest difference between the two runners in terms of their habits throughout the tournament. Sponge has pretty much never done it unless necessary, and What the Hells has done it pretty much at the first opportunity every time.
Yeah.
And it's one of those things where I think both of them are very... Their playstyle isn't going to change based on who they're against. They're not those kinds of players.
Yeah.
So... not going to change those habits. It doesn't surprise me too much to see What the Hell's doing it now.
So
Sponge probably won't for
I kind of get
2 hours.
I kind of get the feeling that Sponge is just hard committing to the bomb bag at this point. I don't know. Do you think that's going to be the case, or I guess it depends on if he finds one. That's not
really
30.
curious Sponge is rowing here, because I don't like River here.
Yeah, I'm not sure why you wouldn't just go to Dodongo's, right? I mean, it's the kind of like Yoshi's saying, it's the perfect spot to be scumming your shoes. I mean, it's way over here. What could even be in it? It could even be bomb bag in there.
Why would you plant that bean there?
He's going hard here today,
I
Sponge.
guess you've seen everything.
What is that?
That's a pair of boots. It looks like iron boots.
Ooh.
Yeah. Interesting.
But just to reiterate why I don't like River, as Sponge finds an important item.
Important's a loose term for irons, by the way.
Yeah.
Quiet, kind
Come
of.
on.
Iron, it's
No scales yet. We'll take irons at this point.
But yeah, I'm just not sold on this as a play. Partly for what you said, Yoshi, in terms of Dodongo's Cavern being available, but mainly just because I don't know. I think there's just better places to use that bomb chew there. You could just do DC into Goron City and into DMC, and I think that's potentially a better use of chews here. But ultimately, Sponge has found iron boots. They might find something else, and I might look like an absolute idiot. Which
One thing I know I've spoken to Sponge about before that he's a big proponent of is that he doesn't have a particular play style that he will do. He doesn't have like set habits that he will always go for or always avoid. There are some plays that he thinks are bad and he just won't do them, but that's a slightly different thing. Whether he plays like aggressive or thorough just entirely depends on what he feels on the day. And he said that he'll basically go into a race with an idea in mind, and as long as he doesn't diverge from that, he's happy. Because he's like, if I change my mind halfway through, and then it turned out I should have stuck to what I was doing, that's when I'll be annoyed. Like, that's when I'll be disappointed with the way I've played, because I was on the right path and I went away from it.
Okay.
So I wouldn't be surprised if this is him playing very aggressively towards basically clearing out Child and not caring about safe scumming to choose, and that's basically how he's decided to do this. And the kind of downside to what he's doing, and the thing that could end up costing him here, is he's gonna isolate a lot of little checks here and there. If they get storms, getting back to Frogs 1 is gonna be kind of difficult now.
Yes, storms could just be in Bolero at this point, and we now have access to that, which is another point, as you say.
Could be OoT storms, right?
Sorry, say again?
Could be Ocarina of Time storms.
Yeah, I mean, storms could be on all dungeons, so we might not find that for a while, but if it is just freely available, then, as you say, Frogs might be left alone.
I do kind of wonder if Sponge coming up River and into Domain is for the hints. Not having an OOT hint is a really big deal.
Yeah, they skipped up a River hint. I mean, they kind of had to, but they have skipped that hint, so I'm not convinced it's for hints.
He's just turning in letter mostly.
Yeah, I mean, ice is now an option. Definitely
no
not
way in yet. No Hobbit, no Lullaby.
Yep.
I mean, you've got to imagine you'd find Lullaby pretty reasonably, but
especially with your spawn being so close to Bolero, I mean, it could just be there pretty easily. Wouldn't take that much time. And I think we're gonna see what the hell's go adult here.
Yep, looks like it. So, no... I mean, unless Sponge finds something in Domain, Sponge won't have any advantage on what the hells if they choose to go adult now. Whereas if something is in Domain, then this is kind of like the first match that they played, where Sponge goes into adult with a big advantage.
Is that a 2-dive from Sponge? Or is that 3-dive?
Can't see.
No, I didn't quite catch it.
Pretty fast.
Yeah, I mean, you say he has Iron Boots advantage. Ultimately, no, because you can still get those as an adult, so I wouldn't call that an advantage. As much as what the hells might just route adult River and find those anyway. That is a piece of heart. So 1 check left. They've caught a fish. Are they just opening Jabu?
Possibly. I mean, at this point, I'd be scared if I were them of where's this first strength, right? Like, if the bomb bag on 30 is first, surely you're probably required to go get a strength before DC. Where's it going to be? They don't even have that much left.
I think Sponge is going to go into Jabu.
I think Sponge is going to open Jabu. I'm not sure about doing it.
I think Sponge is going to go... That's a vanilla silver scale, isn't it?
Okay.
Wow. Yeah, it is.
Logic access to Domain, ironically.
Yeah.
Which further confirms that 30 skulls is potentially what we're going to need for our first bag here.
There are 2 reasons I think Sponge is going to go into Jabu here. Firstly, I think he wants a skull in the basement. I think he's going to go in to get that skull. Secondly, what's his option after this? He can't do the fountain because he doesn't have Zelda's Lullaby. He can't go back to Lake without playing Serenade, and he can play Serenade from Jabu.
They are actually doing Jabu. Okay.
So he might as well walk to the Rang chest and play Serenade from there.
Boy, see, I would have said get the hints and then leave. So I'd have opened up Jabu, got the hints, and left. Because if you play Serenade from Boomerang chest, you skip 2 hints.
Yeah, I do think the hints in Fountain, at least the one near Jabu, would be quite valuable here. But yeah,
I think it's just lengthening the child segment a little bit too much from Sponge's side for me. Just I I just wouldn't have gone upriver in the first place, right? I mean, I get getting the hints, but if you're going to end up skipping one too,
I think I agree on that. But once you're here, I think doing Jabu is perfectly fine. This is mostly progression.
Definitely. You're going to have to come to here anyway, so it's a good point.
I'd also say, depending on, even if there is an item here, it would have to be a bow, in my opinion, for this to be a huge advantage. Because, well, maybe not, maybe like hammer or something, but there are a few items you could find here. It's like, oh, this is great, but what the hell's has the letter already, and Jabu is a medallion, so... Oh, there's the lens!
That's a lens? Yeah, okay.
Lens on Dodongo's Cabin.
Also, yeah, to your point, I think hammer would definitely be the big one to push you towards that forest medallion. But otherwise, like, the only other big one really right now, I think, would probably be magic.
Yeah, I mean, it gets us into shadow, doesn't get us too far into it.
It's a working fire source, which is always good to have just to be efficient as you go through each location as well. And
I would just chuckle quite heartily if the way of the hero Dodongo's Cavern is just a boomerang.
Yeah, that would be a rough one for Sponge, for sure.
I mean, again, it is progression they need to do, but getting back there isn't quick. Oh,
it's a long shot.
Long shot.
All right, sure.
So GTG's in logic.
Water's like, you can just go beat water already, and Sponge still doesn't know it's foolish.
Yeah, we don't know about where the boss key is, so we might still be screwed over with strength and a bow.
Or ZL.
Yeah, oh yeah, I mean, ZL is the big factor, I guess, but there's our third bottle as the boomerang check. So gets a little bit of big whale milk, which is the weirdest thing I've ever said.
Yeah, I don't know. Something wrong in Jabu's stomach.
You know, like, we've already seen the cows in Jabu in Master Quest, so, like, they just left the milk behind, that's all. They just left the milk there.
I'm a big fan of milk, though, so I'd be pretty happy finding that.
Oh, that is...
Ooh. Just a slight misstep there from what the hell's in the staircase in DC. It happens. Things like this happen. Even to the best runners here, even in the grand finals sometimes.
Oh, collecting this skull. Okay.
Yeah, that's a heads up play. Heads up play.
It's a rare skull you see collected in standard.
Yeah, having the long shot makes it so convenient, though. Yeah.
I feel like What the Hell's is getting all of the like 40, 50 skulls for 30, and it's kind of throwing me off a little bit.
Like, it's they're bad skulls though, not because they're slow, but because like normally you don't have the requirements for them the first time you're there, and you have to backtrack.
Yeah.
And it's just, you know, What the Hell's just happened to have the bottle early enough for Valley to get the one in the soil there, and happens to have the long shot here that normally you just wouldn't really see.
Yeah, they're only quote unquote bad skulls until you need skulls, and they're on the way too. So it makes a lot of sense.
Okay, a few more checks left in DC then, but worth keeping in mind that this is still absolutely all out of logic.
Yep.
So
everything we're nowhere close to being in logic. I mean, I guess we're just a strength or so away, a bomb bag. I mean,
yeah. I mean, start with the point that they are in logic with 30, but until someone gets a bomb bag, they're not strictly in logic right now.
Missing quite a few items actually. I mean, we still have forest. We still don't have a bow. Where do you think first bow is going to be?
There's still too much open for that at this point.
Okay, What the Hell's is resetting the rest of Dodongo's Cavern, which makes perfect sense. Gets to keep some chews now, and just head through to the back, finishing that off.
This is interesting as well. Sponge just save reset to do the Lost Woods checks, and I assume is going to go through, do the second one, the SFM Grotto, and then just reset back. Save those 3 chews and get a bunch of checks, including one in a Way of the Hero location on the way. Opting to play Sarius, though.
One jump failed, so Anyone who had Mido skip on their card, screaming in pain.
For what it's worth, I'm pretty sure What the Hell's never checks that hint in DC. I've seen him skip that so many times. Some runners just don't get it. And some people always get it. I don't think there's any in between for that one. Or very little, at least.
Alright. More skulls here from What the Hell's then. Already up to 16.
Picking up the lens.
Yeah, why not? So, What the Hells can head into Goron City here with 3 chews, which is quite unfortunate because if you get 1 extra chew, you can get the Goron City maze, so that feels a little bad.
Did Sponge take a wrong turn in the Lost Woods?
It almost got lost in Lost Woods. I mean, you hate to see
He
it.
actually might have earlier because he was in the Scrub Grotto, and then next thing he's walking through Lost Woods to SFM. I'm like, I looked away and looked back, and I think he must have taken a wrong turn.
I've done that so many times. It's
I've done that an embarrassing amount of times, to be fair.
well, you just have to think, okay, I just came from the grotto next to SFM entrance, but you're actually near Goron City. That's all it takes, or vice versa. But yeah, Foror's Wind here in SFM, scumming it could be Way of the Hero.
I think the thing here is the scum here is twofold, right? Firstly, you've got Forest. Eventually, you're going to end up back here probably relatively soon because bow and strength tend to be earlier items because there's more of them. So you're going to be back this way soon enough anyway, and the 3 chews when you can spend 1 later is worth it. Secondly, it doesn't even do anything until you get magic anyway.
Yeah. No, it makes sense. I mean, definitely a contrast to what we're seeing on What the Hell side, like just picking up lens in case you need it later. Kind of 2 different things. Oh, what was that? It was a Pono?
So we have
pretty happy finding them.
And we've got another late ZL seed.
Is it actually just across the desert again? I guess it could still be the Templar Time at this point, the Forest Medallion.
It could also be Burning Cat.
Yeah, it could be Burning Kakariko, actually. We've got 3 that don't care about Zelda's Lullaby at all.
And just like that, we are in the same area. Both of our runners in DMC. Sponge not choosing to do the Goron City maze, which is interesting because you could easily scum that because your spawn location is Goron City. But heading back in to do it, maybe?
Have we seen an updated skull count on both these runners? I feel like they're both close to 20 at this point.
What the Hell's is on, I want to say 17.
Yeah, it was 16, 17 at last look, I remember.
I don't know about Sponge.
We'll see it now on What the Hell's, at least.
I mean, when it gets to this point without Wallet, I mean, you can finally get to Fortress, I mean, with either Longshot or Eponas, but you don't want to have to go buy Bomb Shoes either, right?
Okay, there's quite a big discrepancy. Sponge only on 12. What the Hell's is on 18?
Wow.
18 to 12 is a pretty notable difference, but at the same time, Sponge has kind of gone a little further afield for checks right now, so...
And they are going to pick up a few in Dodongo's cavern here, so...
True.
Catching up for sure. Well, those really has to keep up the pace here with Skulls, otherwise Sponge is going to catch up pretty shortly.
They're also now out of chews.
Still missing away the hero, right? We have SFM, Kakuri Forest, DC.
Yeah, just those at the moment.
Yeah. Looks like What the Hell's is just giving up on explosives then. They are just going to hunt down skulls and get a bomb bag instead of worrying about bomb chews at this point.
That's always an interesting one to me. I know What the Hells has spoken a lot about not safe scumming bomb chews and like just using them, and it always feels really aggressive to me. It always feels like a very aggressive play to just be like, oh, I'll get more explosives soon enough, it's fine. And right now, like, there's gonna be a lot of checks that he's gonna walk past and not be able to get that Sponge will.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it depends on how many skulls and where they're going to get them from, because I think they can get 5 here if they go through Lost Woods into Forest Temple, which I predict they're going to do. They can potentially get up to 5 skulls, but they still need another 5. And I'm not entirely sure where they're going to get those from. You could head over to the GTG. You've got opponents now, so you could get some weird Valley Fortress skulls to get to that 30.
Look, Gerudo area is just so low value right now.
I think it's going to dip Forest, and then after that, I think I could see River being a play for what the else. Just getting 2 there, then you're at 27. Your last is in CAC. You only need 2 more at that point. I mean, right now he's at 20, so you can get 4 here in Courtyard.
Rob with
really
a point.
Just in case of 2 or 3 skulls. I mean, it's not that bad.
What the hell skipped the Deku Theater skull? They have long shot, so that's interesting.
So I know I see a lot of people doing that one, killing it with the bomb chew first and then picking the token up with the long shot.
Yeah.
And I'm sure What the Hells will know that one, if nothing else from the random settings races, because like that's really important for those. But yeah, surprised you didn't get it in this one.
I can see like the setup for that without the bomb chews, though. It can be a little finicky. It can take a lot of time. It can be as much as 30 seconds sometimes if you mess it up. So I think that's probably more at play here. But I mean, I could see it either way.
I imagine if the bomb chews were spare at this point, if What the Hells had chews left and enough to get away with it, he would have grabbed that. But yeah, I think I agree with you on that.
Mm-hmm.
So did Sponge save at the start of Dodongo's Cavern?
I think
or earlier in?
I'm fairly sure they saved after getting the long shot.
Makes sense.
Because they know they're going to keep that.
Yeah.
They've only got 1 chew left.
1 lucky chew.
And
what are you going to use?
Using it on the hint.
I guess that makes perfect sense. And that's just a repeat of Biggoron being dead.
So he is going to save scum the bomb chews here.
Yep. Same as What the Hells, makes perfect sense.
A lot more value on this one, though. I'm pretty sure What the Hells saved near the top of Dodongo's Cavern, so Sponge saving a couple of extra here. And yeah, they've basically done the same explosive lock checks here, but Sponge still has 4 chews left. And What the Hells is at 0.
I think Sponge has left DC with 1 chew. No, they left with the exact same amount of What the Hells. Because What the Hells did the DMT check after leaving Dodongo's Cavern. So they both have left with 4.
Oh, did he not? Did Sponge not do that one earlier?
I'm not sure. They might have already done it, but I just know that they both left DC with 4 chews, if I remember right.
Right.
Which is interesting, because you could finish DC with 4 chews. Of course, that means that you're very much obliged to keep it or save scum genuine progression, which feels a little worse.
You can't with 4, can you? I think it's 5. You need 2 for the eyes, 1 for the floor, and then 2 for King Dodongo, so it's just short.
Yeah, I actually forgot about Dodongo himself, so I was just thinking about getting
Yeah, forget about that Joker. He's just a big dinosaur.
Surprisingly easy to do. You normally have strength by now, but yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, nothing in Forest, though. Just a whole bunch of keys. So I guess it means that we can get... Well, you can't, because we don't have strength. So we can't get any further into Forest.
I think once they get this bomb bag, they probably just go clear Dodongos. And at that point, I don't know, GTG seems like not a terrible play. Might not be the best available to them. I mean, their other options are Foolish for it, or Water. Okay.
Speaking of GTG...
Yeah, I mean, I think he's going to pick up the skull here.
Yeah.
This is one of the more underrated skulls, I would say. You need long shot, so you don't often get it. But when you do, it's pretty good.
Again, we're seeing a lot of the skulls that have really awkward requirements, but they just happen to have those requirements early.
Okay, so let's think about skull placement then. So there are 2 in Valley, the what the hells can get. There are 2 in Fortress, and there's 1 in Kakariko. So if they do choose to go that way, then they're now on 30. So it is a route. I'm not saying it's an amazing route, but it is a route.
I think the issue would be going over to Fortress and the Gerudo area right now, when Fortress is foolish. You can do the training grounds. It feels awkward knowing that you're going to have to go back there later.
Yeah,
almost guaranteed going
You
back.
have a one-shot Song of Time, though, so GTG does have some inherent value. You do have to skip a ton of checks, but you can actually do 5, 6 checks, I want to say, depending on keys.
Yeah, I think probably a bit more, honestly. You're leaving behind, I think, 9. 4 with strength, 4 with the bow, and 1 with iron boots. And then obviously, depending on the keys with those, you've got some number in the maze. So it's decent, but it's not good, is kind of where I'm at with that. There is an argument to just crossing and getting the song.
You know what? They were literally word for word the exact sentence I was about to say.
Oh my god, the other scales on adult fishing? Really? Really?
Both vanilla. Both.
Oh my god.
Both vanilla scales. So we've had a vanilla slingshot, 2 vanilla scales. Okay, sure, why not?
Love it.
Even rando. I thought we were covering the season 4 randomizer tournament. What are these vanilla?
Why are you helping these bingo cards?
I mean, I'm doing okay. I'm a little spotty on mine, but how are yours holding up?
In fact, what the hell gets hit by this keys? Oh no, I needed someone to get hit by keys. Never mind, that's just not gonna happen.
Oh, we've still got Ice Cavern to go, you're fine.
Oh, wow.
All right.
What is
that
that?
bow? Is that a bow?
That's
No,
just...
that's not even close to a bow.
Yep, still don't have the bow. Still looking for that first bow.
Alright, and after embarrassingly calling a Gwei a keys, what the hell's happened? Off to the fortress area.
Yeah, the dreaded water keys. But those are... I guess those are the stingrays, right? The water keys. We have the fire, ice, and water keys. Now, where are the shadow and light keys? That's my question. Really just missing those elemental keys.
Wouldn't you argue that shadow keys are the invisible ones in Light Trial?
Ooh, okay. The shadow keys, yeah, okay. Or MQ Jabu.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, I'm kind of a fan of key sanity in chat. I like this idea. Let's see where this can go. Can we get hinted keys type? You will find shadow keys in water trial, or I don't know. Of course, MQ.
Convinced that what the hell's playing Suns there was faster than just waiting the 2 seconds that it seemingly had left to get the right time of day.
27.
Pretty good.
Right, he's very close to... Oh, wow. He's aggressive. That is aggressive.
Not going to get the song. That's the one thing. I'm not bothered about the skulls at this point, but the song?
I think not getting the song is fine, but I just think getting the 1 extra skull in Fortress is really easy.
The song is so... has such high odds to be Zelda's Lullaby at this point.
I mean, where else are they going now? It looks like they're going to dive through to Riddle. Okay, so they're going to get the iron boots. And there's 2 skulls here, which means that they can get these 2 and the 1 in CAC, and that's 30.
Yeah.
This is on the way to CAC. It makes a ton of sense to me.
Yeah, and it's actually the best way of routing rivers, so I'm not objectively against it.
Still good. You're gonna be missing Song of Storms for Frogs 1. Is not Here's Child either. So they're both in different ways, kind of putting that off a little bit. So we'll see if that comes back to bite them.
I'm not sure how I feel about what the hell's trying to get the skull in a moving river, but they got it. They also got the hint, which Sponge didn't get, which was just the hammer chest in Goron City being dead, so not the end of the world.
Definitely an interesting decision to me to go this hard for the bombs when you were that close to the song. I would not be surprised if Sponge ends up on a similar route, if he goes over to pick up that song and then almost does the same thing, you know, just from there warps back, picks up the remaining skulls, turns them in, etc.
Fucking gold scale for Sponge. This could be huge for Sponge, though, because they can now do lab dive. I mean, they could have done it anyway, but they can now logically do lab dive.
Oh, he could go and try and beat Water While here as well, and that with DC not... Dodongo's isn't quite beatable right now, but you've got to assume you're very close to it. So Water actually has quite a lot of value for opening Ganon's castle. And yeah, there's a reasonable argument for him to do it here, and if he doesn't go and pick up that hint that's just the other side of this lab from Water, you won't know it's foolish.
Right.
Of course, yeah, chat bringing up, doesn't have any of the other items, so he's only doing 2 checks. It's not the most likely boss key in the world, but it depends what your next play is. If you're warping away afterwards, I think it's worth it.
Alright, and What the Hells is about a minute away from the bomb bag, so after joking about it earlier, we seemingly do have a logically hard required bomb bag on 30 skulls, which we're about to get just under sub 1 hour if What the Hells is fast. Oh, the kick!
Wow!
Oh boy, that's spicy. That is fucking spicy. Especially with Water being foolish. What the Hells has so little incentive to go back to Lake. That's pretty big.
Might not find that for a while.
And they are getting the Water Foolish hint as well. That's double huge.
Yeah, this has been like a phenomenal, 30 seconds for Sponge here. You know, What the Hell's sure is going to get the bomb bag, but Sponge just, yeah, maybe. And the other big thing for Deku Tree is that's a lot of very quick, easy skulls for Sponge to pick up on the way through as well.
Mm-hmm. The benefit, well, not really benefit. I guess the only thing that What the Hells might be okay with is that they have Serenade and they have opponents. So the fastest way to getting back to the GTG area and potentially crossing the wasteland, which might be required, is just by playing Serenade and going through. So I'm almost certain when they do that, they will go past Lab Dive and do the Lab Dive. This is when they choose to go that direction.
Mm-hmm. Did Sponge save the choose here, or is he just spending those last few now that he knows the bomb bag is close?
I think they're just going to spend them at this point. You're going to probably go to Deku Tree, right? Because every skull you had in your mind is now eclipsed by the ones in the Deku Tree. So that would be my play.
Yeah, I would be surprised to see pretty much anything else at this point. It's one of your best density locations in the game, and when it's doubled up with the skulls there, it's so much value now.
Alright, well, we are going to have our first dungeon completed and our first medallion at about 1:05, so happy 1 hour mark, everyone. We don't even have a single dungeon finished.
Still two items to check here in Way of the Hero DC. There could be something else here. At the same time, Sponge getting Kukuri Sword, I mean, it only takes like an item or 2 here, and how long is it going to take Sponge to get back here, right?
Yep, you're not wrong.
Right, like, Sponge will get back to Dodongo's Cavern fairly soon. Obviously, I assume he's going to go and finish Deku Tree pretty shortly, and then turning the skulls from that, and between Deku Tree and kind of the Gerudo area that he's now going to, that will be enough to reach 30.
Alright, now I'm not saying Sponge loves GTG without items, but Sponge really does love GTG.
Kind of his thing.
He needs to do it. So I do wonder if he's going to dip here. He does have he has one bomb chew to use on the Beamos. So he might choose to. Of course, What the Hells didn't have any explosives, so it was less incentivized to go into GTG.
Maybe What the Hell's a little bit disappointed in not finding another item after getting the 30 skull bomb bag, but I mean, there's been no other chew finds at all. I mean, there's really not a whole lot of checks left that are actually in logic either. Like this Deku play could be good, but it's also completely out of logic, right? There's just no way to get the second scale without.
No, it isn't. It's not out of logic, right?
Oh yeah, no.
Not anymore. No, you can get the scale
not
from
anymore,
adult
yeah.
fishing
Okay.
to get the domain to get the second. Yeah.
Never mind. Well, it's still good to check that, right?
If there's just a bomb bag in Deku Tree, that is revolting.
Actually, that would be phenomenal.
Ugh.
Can I just say, like, Sponge's tournament history in this community was his first race in Season 3, where there was a hint that the Skull Kid had a bomb bag, and Sponge didn't read it, walked over to Gerudo Training Grounds with, like, 2 items. That's magic.
Okay.
But yeah, Sponge stumbling his way into a lucky bomb bag it's where he started. And if that wins him a tournament, he will be very happy with it.
Yeah, might even get a second emote from his channel just for that. I mean, we already have one.
Okay, so this is really good for What the Hells then. So they're going to save Warp now and head back to Goron City. They can do the rest of the checks in Goron City they didn't do. They are almost certainly going to find Farore's Wind, which means that crossing the Wasteland is way better. You can set Farore's Wind either in GTG or in Spirit, and that lab dive is probably going to happen due to that.
I mean, he has Serenade, right? Like, I don't think it's completely like out of left field or anything like that. I think
I
very possible.
The other thing as well, we mentioned before, you know, if you go and cross and get Zelda's Lullaby, for example, then there's a little more merit to going into water, which pushes you over to Lake already, so it's just clean up while there, and there's so much value to all of that.
Got a couple spoon slashes in here for What the Hells. We know he's a man of culture. He loves his spin slashes.
By the way, shout outs to a few gift subs, lost with a couple of gift subs, and I always get this wrong. The human with 5, I've probably said that very wrong. Thank you for the gift subs.
I always thought it was the man. It's always been kind of. I
don't know. All I know is I probably said it wrong.
It just sounds scary to me. Watch out, man. You only go down there. It's the man's domain.
Oh, is that Colossus?
Ooh. Also, another 5 gift subs from Romer21XX. Thank you.
That was just Dodongo's Cavern.
Was it Cavern? I thought I saw Colossus. It was only half a second, and I thought I saw Colossus. I was panicking there.
Yeah, DC.
Get your popcorn out. That's
me. That's right.
Yeah, this Haunted Wasteland play, I mean, Sponge might get super duper polished for this. I mean, we saw yesterday they were just pretty much unwilling to do that. Same with What the Hell, so it's interesting that they're doing it now.
What I didn't
I get it for the song, though, for sure.
The song is, too valuable right now.
What I didn't expect is a fire dip, I'll be honest.
No, not really expecting that one at this stage.
Felix with 5 subs. It's all kicking off now. Tobias with 5 subs. Holy shit.
Yo, we got the scam train online. Let's go. Choo-choo.
Wait, did we not meet the Trez face cake? I swear we met that already.
Oh my god. Here's 5 more subs from Palm Tree 5. Thank you.
All right.
OoT storms. There we go.
Okay, that's pretty big. What the hell's just baited me by warping to Serenade and then save quitting. So we were almost closer to that Kikiri sword, and that is Bolero.
There. Oh,
Okay, that's
gross.
that's terrible. That is terrible.
So the hammer's floating around somewhere.
Yeah, that is possibly the worst song they could have found.
At least the hammer is floating around somewhere. Potentially more. That is really bad for Sponge, but obviously the counterpoint to that is he now knows it storms on all dungeons, and he has that Kikiri sword, so it's not all bad, but you definitely don't feel good crossing over just to get Bolero.
That is genuinely terrible.
I think both racers are definitely going to want to nail down where this hammer's at, for sure.
I mean, I'm surprised Sponge already hasn't done Deku at this point. I understand crossing the wasteland, but I probably would have done Deku first.
I think you gotta... That song is so valuable for so many things. Obviously, they didn't know what was on all dungeons at that point, so if it was storms across the wasteland, that makes a lot of your child routing way more efficient.
Also, the shoutouts to Sirenny Quill of Sealand.
I think it's Sir Nyquil, I believe, is how it's pronounced. Unless I'm wrong, but I think that might be what it is.
Oh, sorry, I'm just uncultured. Sorry.
It's fine.
I live in my cave, I breathe and eat rando. I sleep rando.
Okay, so what the hell's... Go to Lab Dive? Is this Lab Dive? Lab Dive, please? Right, okay. It's Lab Dive. We're good. Just to be clear, I'm not cheering on what the hell's to get Lab Dive. I just don't want to see someone skip something like this and our
You want it to be a close race, right?
So.
Yeah, that makes sense to me.
I really do think it'll be interesting to see if either of them ends up going into water at any stage, knowing that at this point that opens up Ganon's castle. If you do get the boss key in one of those first two checks, that is so much value, but the odds of that happening are ridiculously low.
Alright, so what the hell's with the decision to make now? The
Wow.
Sponge held
Very nice RNG from What the Hell with the bomb drops there. The full 20 with two bush.
Pretty
two
good.
Bush. It's a shame they're not bomb chews, but you know, you can't get everything you want.
Well, speaking of chews, Sponge is going to do the Goron pot here.
That's got to be like feel so tense doing that. It's just a trick that you've done so many times, but if you get it wrong, you're like, it's a slow one to try again at this point.
Just realised
Definitely.
that's all four. I want to say that's ball percent now. So I think that's all four balls. I know Sponge got that one earlier, but I only just realised that
Yeah.
that was there.
I think... What the hell's still missing? Oh, the one in Jabu, right?
Yeah, the whale milk.
Oh no, getting a little caught up there on the fence that they can just jump over. But, you know.
But it does look like What the Hell's is going to follow Sponge by crossing the wasteland here. I can't see this happening without the commitment to just do the same thing. But they do have Thrall's Wind, which is going to be a benefit, and they have magic, so they can potentially check Haunted Wasteland, which Sponge did skip.
Really good point in chat there. Sponge didn't hit or reset away the top of Dodongo's cavern, so didn't hit the switch. So only having one bomb chew is actually kind of costly. You cannot hit the eyes from the floor with only one bomb chew.
Yeah, that's pretty bad.
Yeah, I mean, might be thinking that it's pretty unlikely there's like an item in the last two, maybe. What is that?
Ooh.
Hello.
Bow on Skull Mask. Okay. Well, ooh, getting bodied by the scrub there, but still has a
Imagine-
bow.
Imagine committing to chickens every race and then Skull Mask as you're writing, and you don't do it. Alright, well, that's pretty huge.
I think
I
it was
want
What
to
the
say
Hells-
that. Sorry, Yoshi, go on.
I was just gonna say, I think it was What the Hells versus PKR, where they both skipped like one check, like hard committed not doing one check.
Oh my god!
They hard committed to not doing one check each. PKR's was chickens. What the Hells was Skull Mask.
This seed sucks so much. I just throw it out there early. We're only an hour and 10 minutes in. This seed fucking sucks. Like, there's Kiri Sword is double scale locked. One of them, and they're both vanilla. Like, that's horrendous. A bomb locked bomb bag, which you could have got very early if you'd have just checked that. Fuck me, this is terrible. You've got to go through the wasteland, which seems like the logical, correct decision, and it's Bolero. Jesus, man.
And Storms on OOT, just to...
Yeah, and Storms on OOT, and between two runners, we have one dungeon complete.
Right, it already feels kind of bad, and it also feels like there is a lot to come still.
Yeah.
Alright, well, I guess this isn't too much of a... This is huge for Sponge to find that bow, but I also want to say that I'm convinced What the Hells is going to get that, right?
Almost
They've already handed in Keaton Mask, and there's no realistic world where What the Hells goes back as child doesn't do bomb tube bowling and picking up the Skull Mask, so I think they're going to get that regardless.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's also been a pretty shallow seed too, right? Pretty much at all points for the most part in this one. I mean, even getting the bomb back, there's not even that much to do, right? So I think it would make a lot of sense.
I guess the biggest thing would be if Sponge, and I guess it's not as big now that he's picked up pretty much all of the skulls, but the biggest thing would be if he found more explosives in the Deku Tree.
Yeah. Again, if there's just a bomb bag in the Deku Tree, that would be pretty absolutely disgusting. But it's already disgusting. We've already found another bomb bag, and it's just in Tektite Grotto. And you could have got that. When did we find bomb tubes? Valley?
Yeah,
the waterfall.
Yeah.
So we could have got that a long time ago. But we have a GTG tip, so first time we've seen that. Oh, Minuet in Ice is the hint there for Sponge.
And that means that the only hint missing now is one of the Way of the Heroes, but we've got... I think... Have we got two of each of the others?
We've definitely got two DC, we've definitely got two
SFM's
Coherent Forest.
The one I'm not sure on,
Yeah,
yeah.
I'm not sure if we've got two SFM.
So it's still possible to get ZL on Burning Cack, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
It's now 50% likely that ZL is on Burning Cat.
Yeah, no matter what happens, it's locked by Hammer, and it's just a question of...
What? Come on, dude.
actually kidding?
Oh my god.
Come on.
Fuck me. I'd have done amazing in this seed. I've called pretty much everything. This is some bullshit.
This is scripted. Script. Where's the script, dude?
Who snuck Chimp's Plando into Grands?
Me. So how many skulls is Sponge on? Like 26?
27, yeah, or something like that.
Now, is there going to be anything else in Deku? That's the real question. I mean, we always knew he was going to luck into a bomb bag, but... Just a stick.
Christ.
Just a stick so far. Stick's pretty good, though. Piece of heart, not so much.
This seed sucks so much. And if I didn't reflect about that already, that just doubles down.
Like, I don't know if that's early enough to quite count as a sponge bag, because that's still, like, frustrating for him that he's got that many skulls and then finds it. But at least he doesn't have to go and turn in the skulls now.
Sponge is not bailed out by this, as What the Hells finds the Mirror Shield for Stone Spirit in GTG.
Nice find.
Yeah, 2 strengths away from Song of Storms. You gotta imagine it's gonna come up.
Don't need that.
Really
Somebody need
depends
that
on...
Putty Steel, though.
Yeah, it really depends on how many items we're missing at this point, right? I mean, we're looking at fire, we still need hammer. Forest, we still need strength. That's still just MIA completely. So it tells me that...
All right, never mind.
The
That's
juice!
the sponge bag right there.
Extra lucky.
That's the real fail.
Yeah, that was it. That was the real one.
Just a thought. There is a realistic world, and I wouldn't put it past the seed now that we've seen so much shit. The hammer is in the well, and you need ZL. You have to beat Spirit without ZL to get ZL.
Yeah,
Cross the
it's
wasteland
possible.
again or something.
Yeah, which would be some absolute bullshit.
Yeah, that really lines up with the spoiler log we're reading from, so I could see it happening. Complete Kappa, by the way.
Alright, one check left then in DC. Sponge, for some reason, still checking skulls. Maybe just at this point, it's like, you know what, I've gone this far, I'm going to get 30. So, has now picked up their 30th skull after finding a not out of logic bomb bag in Deku Tree.
Honestly, might just grab it on the way through anyway to not have to worry about getting more going through, but... You know, we already saw what the hell's farming bombs in Lake Hylia at one point, so picking up a second bomb bag might actually be worth it sometimes.
Okay, now, is there going to be anything left in GTG? And is Goma going to pay off? A few more keys here for what the hell, so can get a couple more items. Did they do toilet? I don't think they did, but they can. Oh, another magic. That's pretty big. Although Sponge is just going to get the one in DC, so I guess it's not super huge. Okay, one more chest.
Extends it a little more, yep.
Still need hovers. I mean, still a ways away. Ring. It's really not that many items realistically, but
nothing else in Deku Tree.
And didn't do the toilet here, so we're not going to see if that's a key or a check at this point. And if it was a key, it would open up one more check in the central maze, but what the hell's opting to come back later, I assume, with a bow or strength 2 or both?
Yeah, and we know there is a bow available, so... But what the hell's committing to crossing the wasteland here is going to get absolutely furious when they pick up Bolero and cannot do anything else.
No choice but to go child at that point, and at this point, obviously Sponge hasn't done the training grounds or Donongo's Cavern yet. Those are the two big things that What the Hell's has over Sponge right now. But you've got to assume at this point, I think Sponge is in the lead now. Having that bow by the time he does go to clear out some of the training grounds will mean that he'll be a little more efficient with that. And, you know, having the extra twos, having done Deku Tree already, having already done this crossing, I think it's definitely a lot closer than it started at the very least.
Maybe. I wouldn't. I'm not going to say that Sponge is ahead. I'm not sure I know enough at the moment because whilst the bow might be more efficient for GTG, there could just be nothing bow locked. So, yeah, I'd struggle to say that Sponge is ahead, especially now that they're doing chickens, which is
Yeah, never mind.
not something I thought I'd see.
I mean, is this what do you make of this chicken play by Sponge? 120 in the seed.
I think it's the nod to the storms on OoT.
Whoa, there's strength!
Alright, never mind. Sponge isn't in the lead anymore. There's
what the
no
hell's
lead for
ahead?
Sponge. What the
Okay.
hell's a million miles ahead. Holy shit. Oh boy, that is absolutely enormous.
That is devastating for Sponge, absolutely.
That's horrendous. Like, there's no world Sponge goes to do that unless they do GTG and force themselves to go to Wasteland.
Yeah, I guess if you
bad.
go over to the training grounds and find a strength and then you're about to warp away anyway, then maybe you cross to the wasteland to do the check and then warp from there, and that would be about it. But yeah, right now that's a rough place for that to be.
That is horrendous. But as someone just pointed out in chat, there is still one Wave the Hero available.
If that
Which
ends up being Wasteland,
would be stupid if that was hinted. That'd be the biggest bailout I have maybe ever seen if Sponge ran into a haunted wasteland Way of the Hero with this.
So what we're saying is Wasteland is hinted Way of the Hero, and it's the 2 hints in Zora Fountain that we were talking about Sponge potentially getting when he dipped Jabu earlier.
Yeah. Oh boy. Madness. This seed still sucks, by the way. Still sucks really bad.
Beauty.
It's not.
Absolute beauty.
It's just getting progressively worse. First strength in Wasteland, sure. Why not? Enjoy that bolero, what the hells.
Yeah, I think what the hell
But to be
might be a little tad annoyed here.
To be
running
fair,
in a circle, running in a circle.
Yeah. To be fair, at least they got strength. You know, so crossing the wasteland wasn't a complete bust. They did get strength. It does mean that they don't have ZL, which I would have put money on that being ZL, but this is fine. And a shadow tip. Okay.
Real talk, by the way, like, I know we've spoken a lot in the past about, you know, dipping Shadow is like a good play because it's progression and you're just gonna, like, it takes a long time to walk out from Dead Hand and you might as well just walk from there anyway, but doing this right now on What the Hell side, this is thinking time. This is What the Hell's going, I was expecting Zelda's Lullaby, where do I go next? And this is, okay, I can do this now and I don't really lose anything and it gives me time to come up with a better plan.
Yeah, this is huge. And speaking of huge, Tobias with the 17 gift subs.
Wow. Whoa. Well then, I guess.
Oh no! Wait.
Wait, what was that?
Strength in Bonchu bowling.
What?
Oh my
What?
god!
So Sponge gets to beat Dodongo's Cavern, beat Forest, potentially go over to Training Grounds from there, and then at that point, if he goes to the Wasteland, go into Spirit.
We don't even know if we need strength to.
He'd grab Feroz Wind on the way to Forest.
Wow.
Like, this is just all flowing there, and if Strength 2 is in Forest, like, that's golden.
Yeah, I mean, I guess the big thing here is that What the Hells is going to get that fairly soon, I want to say. And if Requiem is somewhere soon, then they can just not bother crossing the wasteland and feel pretty confident and just rush into Spirit. But Requiem, you've got to think, is behind fire at this stage, so where the fuck is the hammer?
It 100% has to be, right? We've got 2 songs. Well, we know Minuet is an Ice Cavern, but of the 3 remaining songs, 2 are behind the hammer and the other's behind Zelda's Lullaby.
That's some dumb shit right there.
Well, which part?
Yeah, I mean, all of it.
Yes. The answer is yes.
Oh, man. I don't want to make Sponge sound bad by saying he's been bailed out, but that is such an enormous bailout. I don't know what else to describe it. It's just...
Well, I mean, it's partly that. I think it's partly putting yourself in a good position to get bailed out, too, right? Like, it's not necessarily that it's just complete RNG. He's putting himself in a great routing position. I mean, going to Deku is just a good play, probably, regardless. I mean, it's a stone, but it's not a bad play. I mean, the fact that it led to explosives, both shoes and bomb bag was pretty good, but
yeah,
I mean, finding something that's bomb locked, that's not too surprising. And I think What the Hell is going to get that anyway.
I agree with you entirely, yeah. I think a big part of Sponge's decision-making in Season 4 has been trying to be efficient, going back and forth, especially with Deku Tree being closed. One of the things that I know Sponge has spoken about before is doing those extra 1 or 2 out-the-way checks in your Adult 1 section in case you find the Kokiri sword and can have a way more efficient child section. So I think a lot of that play is, specifically routed around, if I find these things, it will be worth it, and if I don't find anything, I'm not losing that much time.
Okay, so Sponge just skipped Foral's Wind.
Oh, that's...
I don't know if they consciously skipped it, or whether they'll just get it afterwards or something.
You've got to assume you'd have got it on the way there.
I heard a Discord badump. Does that mean Trez has joined us?
Trez has joined us.
Indeed.
Trez?
So I heard I'm gonna get a cake into my face.
You sure are. Tobias made sure of that.
So thank you so much, everybody, for your subs. I'm gonna make sure that the cake that I'm gonna order has ZSR Blame Trez on it. So it's like the double Trez cake smashing experience.
Beautiful.
And I also just added the new sub goal, and maybe you all like that one as well.
All
Because
right.
that could actually be close.
That might be
I
realistic.
might actually be close.
That might actually be close. So I hope you all enjoyed. I heard that this is a pretty bonkers seed, so I'm really happy.
Yeah, you've rolled a fucking disgusting race this one. Jesus Christ. TJ with 5 subs. Thank you very much.
So much.
TJ.
Enjoy,
And yeah.
everybody.
And yeah, what the hell's grabbing strength 2 here? So this might, I won't say it is, because it does depend on some Zelda's Lullaby and some key placement, but that
Wow.
might be Song of Storms.
And just like that, we're very close already to this next sub goal. A slew of gift subs. Thank you all for that. Romer with the 10, Purple with the 5, and I think TJ, yeah, with the 5 as well. Wow. Look at this community go.
It's funny, Yoshi, you mentioned earlier that Salty Sponge is going to have the benefit of... I don't know why I said Salty Sponge like that. They're going to have the benefit of going to GTG with the bow, which is, more efficient. However, what the hells is going to have the advantage of going there with the strength as well as the bow if they choose to return. And
Right.
the Sponge isn't going to have that extra strength. So he's suddenly all of a sudden being one-upped by
Right.
strength 2 of extra efficiency.
And the not picking up for us wind is a big problem with that as well, because what the hell has left for us in the training grounds, whereas, well, Sponge just walked over it a minute ago, and yeah, it's definitely it's definitely turning the tables pretty quickly back and forth in this. It's
Wait, what was that? No way! No fucking way!
wow! So
Oh,
it's time. All right.
Right.
So,
And now what the hell's is bailed out?
but if he doesn't have the bow, is he gonna go and get that? Because now he has all of
But
his songs.
they've just save quit, right? So they can't play Prelude, so I guess they might serenade in a fire temple.
He has every song available now.
No, it looks like they're gonna do some more child checks. So
I guess
they
he
might
doesn't-
they're
and
probably
he
gonna
doesn't
hand in
have-
Skull Mask.
He doesn't have Burning Kakariko until the Skull Mask is turned in anyway, so he wouldn't get absolutely everything. This, unbelievable.
And now all of a sudden, the magic that is just into Dongo's Cavern that Sponge has avoided finishing off, which has not even been a bad play, like it's just not really been a position to finish off DC, is enormous. Just that magic alone is absolutely massive. Oh my god, I've never seen a race with so many more twists and turns in my fucking life. What the hell's going on?
Yeah, it's interesting that, like, Sponge is just doing progression, density, all of the plays make perfect sense, and yet the two magics being in two places that he just kind of almost sidestepped. Like, he could have done Dodongo's Cavern, but he wanted to keep those chews, and he could have gone into the training grounds, but he wanted to cross for the song. And it's just like, both times it's like, it's just lost out. And those two magics are going to come in really, really vital here.
Yeah, chat actually pointing out, we are only Hovers and Boomerang from Go Mode.
Jesus.
Wow.
Somehow. As we hit the 400 sub goal, thank you, Palm Tree, so Trez now has a race booked. All of a sudden.
Well, that was quick.
What the hell, really
Jeez.
struggling with this Goron pot.
People want more trust seeds. I think they've made that pretty clear. I think he's too early on this pot, possibly.
It's like on the cusp there, I think. I'm not entirely sure which way that sways. Yep. Too early again.
Oh no. He's just gonna
Grand
give up.
finals, everyone. Grand finals of season 4. Can't throw a bomb in a pot.
I said this earlier, and like this, I feel like this is a hot take for a lot of people in the community, but of the two runners, I actually think Sponge at this point is favoured on execution. And it is incredible to me to say pretty much anyone is favoured on execution against What the Hells, but I genuinely think Sponge is. I just think sometimes his routing is a little too thorough, and What the Hells has a really good mind for routing decisions.
Yeah, I mean, I can't really argue against that, to be perfectly honest.
I mean, the execution advantage can be a big thing, but I still think, it's just my opinion, but most races are still won through routing differences.
100%, yeah.
And that's where we really see What the Hell shine. I mean, even if he's not up to snuff on his, I think it was third try, Goron Pot, you know, I think he's still in a great position here. It's going to be a close race regardless.
Oh, for sure, yeah. What the Hells, I think, definitely has the advantage right now between the Strength 2 and the Hammer. You know, Sponge has just gone back to Adult to go to Forest. So he's going to go from Forest to Dodongo's Cavern, and then he's going to probably want to go over to Gruja Training Grounds. And Lens Game is a long way away from Sponge's mind right now.
Okay, question. What the Hell's just picked up Bow? They have Hammer. They can do Fire and Forest. Do you still do Deku here?
I think you have to.
Do you?
So your Fire is terrible in terms of checks. Like, it gets you your songs, but it doesn't do much in terms of the checks. I think the big thing here is that your best 2 dungeons remaining, or I guess best 3 dungeons remaining for density and number of checks are Deku Tree, Spirit Temple, and Bottom of the Well. So you have to do Deku and Spirit to get to Bottom of the Well, and the songs are kind of, you pick up the songs on the way through, but the odds of you finding not just one of the items, but both items on that route are so low that I think you have to go into one of those big 3. Like, I think if you're skipping Deku at this point, you're basically saying the remaining items are in Fire or Forest, or I just go straight to Spirit. And I just think the odds of that paying out are lower than the odds of Deku Tree and then potentially Bottom of the Well later paying out.
Yeah, I mean, Song of Storms is a really big, overhanging monster right now. But, yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure what I'd do here. Just because the chances of Forest having something is relatively, not high, but just decent enough, that you might end up leaving Forest with Hover Boots, and all of a sudden you've got an entire Shadow Temple.
Right, yeah, and I guess it would depend on the order you found the items in as well. Yeah, I guess the question then becomes, how likely do you think it is that something is in Forest compared to Deku or...
Yeah. It's not just Forest, though. It's
somewhere
Forest,
else, yeah.
Forest and Fire. And as garbage as Fire is, you know, it is still Fire Temple. And you then get well, I can only assume, unless Trez has rolled incompatible monster, that we'd eventually get ZL.
Incompatible monster.
That sounds like a great race time room.
Yeah, definitely. Feels like a Saturday night to me.
Sponge still getting skulls. Is he missing a skull hint?
I guess? I'm trying to remember where the oh, what? Oh my... Okay! The hammer is still relevant. The hammer is still a thing. Like, Sponge is still leaving behind that hammer for a long time right now. But he has been... This one, you know what? Earlier I was like, I don't think it's a bailout. I think he kept his options open and everything. This one's a bailout. This one is a bailout, right up.
But now what the hell is going to get strength 3? So Night Trial is just open.
The thing is, yeah. Go on, yeah.
He's just gonna walk into Ganon's room and he's just gonna be dead already, right? Like, at this point?
So, like, this is the thing. Sponge now is going to beat Forest. He's then going to go over to Dodongo's Cavern, beat that. He's then going to go... probably pick up his Feroz Wind. Once he gets magic, I think he'll go back for it. He'll then go over to the Gerudo Training Grounds and be able to full clear it. He'll get his Mirror Shield, so he's potentially going to consider crossing back over to see if he needs to get Requiem for Spirit, if that's even an option. He's not going to go Child until after all of that, and he's going to get Strength 3 on the way there. So he's going to then go to Ganon's before he goes Child. The hammer is pushed a long way back. He is not going to Lens Game anytime soon. But he's going to walk from item to item to item to dungeon to dungeon to dungeon from here.
Bad position to be in. I'm lost for words.
This is beautiful.
As a commentator, it's really not ideal to be lost for words, but here we are. This is.
When is Sponge getting that hammer, though? For real, though, like, unless they get market weighted hero, because
Yeah, I
we're
mean-
missing that 4th weight hero, right? Like,
Yeah,
it's
that's what-
nowhere.
Yeah, that's what you
Literally
just
nobody?
said. Like,
Real
getting the hammer
talk.
as much is bad. Like, it's,
Real talk, if Spirit is available, I think it's on the way to bottom of the well.
yeah,
Like, that seems like the only time, really, that you're gonna... Or if you find the boomerang. If you find the boomerang somewhere on the way through, say that's over in Gerudo Training Grounds, you find the boomerang, you're gonna go to Jabu. At that point, you end up in the market. This is... You can't write this. You cannot write this. We made jokes earlier, about it being a spoiler log. Like, no Plando is as good as this.
you're right. You're so right.
Definitely a dramatic seed.
I think the big thing I love about seeds like this is, in every situation, both runners have done completely different things. We've got completely different items between them, different checks here and there, like, so many different options and bottlenecks. And they still both have so many things available. There's so much that we don't know still. Like, those are always my favourite seeds, where just, like, the whole thing is wide open. You know, what song does Fire give? That will change a lot of this.
I imagine what the hell's is going to find out first. They're now heading back as adult. They have what we think is everything they need from a child. There could still be a couple of things dotted about, but you've got to think the rest of the items are... Well, I guess... no, you've got the well, so... who knows? Literally, who knows at this point?
Yeah, definitely nice not to have kind of a snooze fest seed where it's like, okay, if they go here, they win. If they don't, they lose. Like, kind of a scenario. So this is definitely great to watch. Because no one, including the runners or us, yeah, like Chimp's saying, have any idea of where the seed's heading exactly yet. Seeing lots of donjons, though, for sure. Gonna be seeing lots of those the next hour or so.
Right, definitely hitting that, yeah, rush donjon phase of suddenly you've... I feel like early on there were a lot of items that were good and were required but weren't enough on their own, and now we've got all the like missing pieces that make them unlock things, and so suddenly it kind of feels like it's opened up really dramatically, like everything's just unraveled in no time. And that means you kind of have to push your progression first and then see what's left.
Fire or forest here? I know what the hell's has gone fire, but what would you have chosen? Because I legitimately think it matters. Because if you don't find what you need in forest, then you could argue that you could potentially go deeper fire, but going fire first sort of leaves you with a bit of mystery. Do I go deeper? Should I leave it? Should I bail?
Personally, obviously I can't speak for the runners, but personally, with the amount of stuff they've both got open, I wouldn't want to go deeper into fire anyway. And at that point, it's just a question of the movement between the two dungeons. Fire drops you in a pretty good place to get back to forest, but forest drops you in a place that makes it a little bit slower to get back up to fire.
Yeah, for me, just kind of taking the two dungeons at face value, I would say forest, but there's not a great way to get back there. And kind of like Yoshi's saying, it's kind of a pain in the ass to get to fire after forest. So if you beat Volvagia and you can even set Feroz here if you really wanted to kind of get back here a little bit sooner, depending on where BK is, I think is a big thing. But, you beat fire, you're at the warp pad, you just walk the forest, or even just save quit. I mean, it's totally fine either way. You have Nocturne to get your Nocturne check too if you want to go that way afterwards. I think at this point it's much more about your big picture routing. So as long as you do forest and fire pretty much after each other, it doesn't matter which one you do.
Yeah, I think the simple answer is you're doing both, so just do both.
Yeah, just
personal preference.
The time it takes to get to the dungeon is going to be the biggest thing where you lose time at this point. So as long as you're in a dungeon, you're probably going to be fine. That being said, I think going fire first would limit that time outside the dungeon the most, so...
I guess part of it as well depends on where your next play is, because the issue is, like, after forest, you're just kind of sat in Kokiri Forest, there's no checks anywhere near you. Where are you going next?
Yeah. I get that too, and I think you also have to think about what items could I find in these dungeons that could make my plays after these dungeons that I'm currently in right now. How does that kind of inform your decision at that point, right? Like, what if you find Boomerang in here? What if Third Strength's in here? We know it's not, but really only a couple things away from go mode, so it's going to come down to lots of execution right now, but also routing is still not to be discounted at this point. Gonna go up the elevator for what the hell is as Sponge finishes DC, getting that magic.
Mm-hmm. So they can now properly find the hammer if they so choose to, but as we've already alluded to, the chances of them doing that anytime soon quite slim. So what the hells is going to be the person we rely on for the most new checks here. We'll see what Sponge goes and does now.
Could
Possibly
go to Goron
GG.
City. Or not Goron City, Ganon's Castle.
Yeah, Ganon's is an option.
I don't think they're going to. I would definitely go Fire Forest first, but...
Well, they can't go fire.
Right, not for
Save quit,
Sponge, but... Yeah, going to Lost
Where's
Woods,
that
right?
save quit? Yeah, is this to get the Feroz? This is to pick up the Feroz now that you've got magic, yeah.
Yeah. It seems fine.
Yeah, I mean, could have got it earlier, still has wasted some time, but...
Could even make his way to Ice Cavern, right? Like, that's not out of the question yet.
Can't get in.
Without hovers.
Yeah, no hovers, no DL.
Oh. Well,
I think...
mind. I mean, theoretically.
I think in Sponge's position right now, you've got to go over to Gerudo Training Grounds, right? You've got the whole thing open at this point.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's the best place right now. Which it was probably why he's picking up Foral's Wind, honestly.
Because then you can head over to Spirit and just leave it there if you get locked out as well.
Okay, Dins. So not Dins. Nocturne, so we're probably going to dip into Shadow here, which is fine. What the Hells is being treated to a nice mid-tier fire so far. Not quite deep just yet. But to be fair, this is kind of what you want. I'd much prefer having to get my boss key from the top of fire than finding it first and then worrying about Fire Temple for the rest of the seed. So
yeah, it almost feels safer if you know, oh, I've already done all the fire and I don't have anything to worry about.
Was Hammer Chest hinted?
Pierre was.
Pierre was, right.
Which I think was a key.
There goes that bingo square. Rip. Alright, Sponge. Not going to find anything here. If you're this far in, and you know Pierre is, well, potentially dead, you can probably find a key and get around it. Do you just finish it off? Because you're not going to step Feroz here, because Feroz is in GTG, right? So you're not going to waste that.
Right. I think the question in Fire is generally like, how many keys, how many checks? What are we looking at right now? There's...
Well, we know there's a key on Pierre. He's currently got 0 keys, so...
Right, so there are 4 keys, including the boss key, remaining in... And that counts Pierre, sorry. 7 checks, I want to say?
Serenade for Sponge. And there is another small key. So we do not need the key from Pierre. Hard Fs to anyone that had Pierre logically required on their bingo card. Look, I...
Oh, that one's not on mine, thankfully. Yeah, how about that?
It's alright though, because at 2 hours, because I'm on comms, I can force myself to win. So just everyone else has got 12 minutes to try and get bingo before I win automatically. So
The Zora tunic and fire. It's interesting. And we're gonna go to deep fire.
have no choice.
Or...
Going.
What?
Hells has probably forgot that this is a
Yeah, I guess.
Uh,
You did see the hint, right? Where was
I
it?
can't remember where the hint was.
it was the third sometimes hint that we saw. I think it was I think it was the domain hint.
That which would mean he doesn't have it then, yeah. Okay.
Yeah. I had to pull out my brain there for a second, see where I saw it.
So Sponge is going to find the mirror shields in GTG here. Probably going to do Spirit, unless there is hovers or boomerang on the bow checks. I guess all the checks in GTG.
At the very least, I would 100% expect Sponge to cross over and leave a Feroz Wind in Spirit. At the absolute minimum. Obviously feels terrible crossing over again, but, you know. We know at this point that he's...
yeah.
Right,
I mean,
in his mind he's like, and I can get the Wasteland check on the way, which is isolated otherwise, and we know that, you know, that's going to be pretty relevant.
I want this market to be Way of the Hero so badly. And have it just be in the worst fucking spot. Like, castle number 2.
Doubles or a fountain.
Yeah.
I'm genuinely surprised still that Sponge didn't check those hints.
I think checking the one near the fairy fountain, I think, is 2 out the way.
Yeah, that's fine, but at least the one near Jabu.
The one near Jabu, I could definitely see a good argument for. Yeah.
If you're lacking suns, makes a lot of sense. Not get the castle one, the fountain one, take it or leave it. I mean,
if you still don't know what the Ocarina song is, in my opinion, you just keep checking hints like that. It's not that far out.
Yeah, the one near Jabu, I think, was definitely a reasonable one.
Yeah, I can definitely understand not getting the castle second when you have Sun Song that early. Oh!
And right on cue. Immediate.
The first fucking check. Okay, well that puts them further away from Hammer, and they cannot finish Shadow without ZL.
Yeah, this is this is kind of ambitious.
if it turns out to be AD too, I mean that still is not super duper great for Sponge either.
The thing with this is that he's going to go through Shadow, he's going to have to pull the shortcut at the bottom, and then Feroz Wind back to Gerudo Training Grounds. So...
You reset it, right?
He just said it in. Yeah, he just said it there and warped. So he's presumably, going to get Zelda's Lullaby locked. We'll just open the shortcut and then warp back, and then continue through Training Grounds into Spirit and all of that, as we were saying before, kinda. So this doesn't really lose anything because he's just doing progression. It loses the time it takes to set and cast and warp back with Ferora's Wind, and that's about it.
Mm-hmm.
But it just means
still...
extra time before the hammer, and it's stuff that him walking into Shadow later could be costly, because what the hell's is probably just going to do all of Shadow in one clean sweep.
Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, it's looking potentially sketchier by the minute for Sponge. I mean, there's a lot of ifs, ands, or buts on his routing here that I don't know. It's looking a little bit less likely that he can connect all the dots here cleanly. Really just staring at that hammer. I just needing the hovers now too. It's just going to be pushing him away more towards off that. Really coming down to maybe where the last way the hero is, what it even is, potentially.
Yeah, it could really give us some strong information at that point.
Yeah.
Or it could be complete garbage and just be double theory for us.
Cack.
What have we found in CAC?
I mean, nothing
Things.
really. There's
We found
like things, yeah. Certainly not something you want Way of the Hero hinted.
No. So that's Fire Temple for What the Hells. Just needs to be Vavagia now, which we know is an item. So Boomerang could just be here, and that would be no mode for us.
That's pretty swag.
It was quite weird, the grab there into the... Yeah.
It's kind of a shame you can't just like grab the ledge all the way down. That'd be so cool.
Alright, will we see a smoother Volvagia this time round? We know that last time these runners went against each other, they synced Volvagia, and Sponge came out on top with a lot better execution.
Ooh, in the early troll hole. Can still get around that, of course.
Yeah.
You just have to be quick in getting the bomb out there. But
That one didn't hit.
still has an opportunity here to one cycle. Not dead in the water yet.
They'd have
Be a
bigger
little
ones.
quick on his bomb.
Because it was on Ocarina
they
Memory.
do. They do.
Yeah, I should do that.
Might have forgotten about it. Or just doesn't want to spend the time to equip it, I guess.
Oh.
Or, I guess...
Just remembered.
Alright, alright.
To be fair, I think because they missed a bomb, they had to equip Big One Sword.
Unless it might just have been unequipped earlier for the flare dancer. I didn't quite catch if it was that, and then it's just this is a convenient time to re-equip it.
Okay, well, so far, nothing in Shadow. We found a wallet. But that's been it.
Yeah,
Of course, we're not bound to find too much, because there's not actually much we haven't found.
Yep, nothing in All of Fire, and, well, what the hell is going to go straight over to Forest, so we know that it's going to go find Strength 3, which could be big, but it all kind of comes down... Worth noting that none of the strengths have been in Way of the Hero locations. The Way of the Hero hints have been pretty trash so far, though.
Yeah, this is for Nocturne, Kakuri Forest for Letter, Hookshot, DC for Long Shot Magic. Just kind of not providing a ton of direction, right?
Nocturne and both hookshots. Great.
Maybe 4 more checks left for Sponge, I think, here.
4, yeah. 5? 5?
5. No, yeah,
5 including this one, yeah.
they do find the boomerang, it would be massive for them, because you've got to think that they then find their hammer pretty soon, which will put them in go mode.
That pulse try is so good.
Pretty neat.
Yeah, Sponge has some
see that.
nice strats.
I remember that one actually. I think FMZ did something similar in one of their races, and then just a whole bunch of people I know were just like, "We have to do this. We have to get this," and like just went to work on it and just like did everything.
Yeah, you have to know a lot of setups that are pretty exclusive if you play on keyboard. So
Yeah, I know Yuso did a lot of Yuso Epic did a lot of optimizations on that one.
all right, what the hell's entering forest now? After the entire fire clear, I mean, not a whole lot else you could do with the BK on compass. Probably expect to see the same thing from Sponge. I mean, still have to find the hammer first, but
Right, it's worth noting as well at this point, like, it's going to be really difficult to tell any time differences between the two, like who's ahead or behind, how much, that kind of thing, because they've done completely different things.
Yeah,
And
I don't have a fucking clue with the time difference between them right now. I couldn't even hazard a guess.
like the whole thing is going to come down to less who's done more and more who goes and does the thing that the other person has already done. You know, if What the Hells goes and clears domain looking for Boomerang, that's going to be a big time loss for What the Hells.
Oh, there's no way, surely.
I think it's unlikely, but that's kind of the point, is like, we're getting to the stage that, yeah, a lot of the things are going to be unlikely.
Alright, and back to GTG. Do they carry on in GTG, or do they go to oh, no, they don't have the Mirror Shield, so there's no way they go to Spirit.
I think the cast here is a VC strat? Just faster to do that than it is to save warp out later.
I mean, yeah, because they can do everything in GTG, so I don't really know why you'd keep it there outside of that. Okay, so we do get to see some bonus checks in GTG, as we've already seen once with the long boots, the hover boots.
the long boots.
The long
boots.
And we are 2 hours in. We have 2 medallions per runner.
I think it's wild to think this at the moment. If Sponge finds the Boomerang here, that's bad for him, right?
No.
Because I think at that point, he's going to follow towards Spirit, etc., etc. He's going to basically go through things like Spirit, Light Trial. I imagine What the Hells is also going to do Light Trial, but I don't think it will take long for What the Hells to go back to Gerudo Training Grounds. And so if the Boomerang's here, I think What the Hells is just going to find that and rush through.
If the Rang's here, then Sponge essentially goes to Jabu next, which means the chances of him finding his hammer is pretty high.
That is true. That is true.
And that means he's just in go mode at that stage. So I think
yeah.
a Boomerang for Sponge is very, obviously we know it's good, but is very good in terms of pointing them towards their last item.
Right, I guess, yeah, it's that kind of decision then of Hammer sends him child towards the hammer. The Boomerang sends him child towards the hammer, but if it comes with too much open, he might skip lens game.
Yeah.
And it's a question of how thorough does he play, how early does it show up, and how out the way is it for What the Hells?
Be very surprised here if What the Hells didn't just Furrow's Wind back to GTG after this. So we are just probably going to get back-to-back-to-back dungeons.
Also, we've now found every key in Gerudo Training Grounds. So yeah, the remaining 2 bow checks here in the toilet are both, or all 3 are actual checks.
We never did see the center chest either, so 4 new checks to come. Arrows for your troubles. So what are the... I'm trying to think of what song it's Prelude or Requiem from one of Burning Cack or Temple of Time. Both of which are pretty good. You'd argue that Requiem might be bait, so you'd probably want Prelude.
I guess it kind of depends. Like, it could be bait, but I think the odds are that it wouldn't be at that point. It all comes down to aggression versus efficiency so many times, I think. So in this situation, it probably depends on who you ask out of the 2.
Also, it doesn't matter because the other one's going to be in the graveyard. So Requiem is just available anyway. Upon thinking, I was like, wait, you could just get Requiem regardless.
Yeah,
so,
all of the songs are there. It's just a question of what's where and how you route them in and how that swings kind of your direction a bit.
Okay, so Sponge knows that the center chest here is hammerlocked, so that is potentially good for... They can go mode Jabu regardless, right? If the boomerang is in the center chest here, you can just go mode Jabu pretty comfortably.
You're going to both be picking up Strength 3 around the same time, but I think that's just going to both push them to Ganon's Castle potentially after these 2 dungeons.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that will be slightly better for Sponge as well, because he'll presumably finish crossing over, set the Furrow's Wind in Spirit, go back, do Ganon's, and then just... I guess maybe check if he's locked out of Spirit and then leave the Furrow's Wind further in.
Yeah. I mean, at the same time, though, I think What the Hells could just be end Ganon's at that point, so that could be I don't know. I wouldn't say potential time waste, but definitely Sponge has some ground to make up here.
Right, as kind of with everything, it's like, if the boomerang shows up there, then What the Hells is pretty comfortably ahead at that stage, because that's go mode and Sponge still has to find a hammer. If it's not there, I think it works better for Sponge in the continued search for the Rang.
Definitely.
So Sponge is going to check the entire maze here, and then I wonder if he's actually going to do the toilet check at this point. It is...
You've got to, surely.
It's slow, but at the same time, like, being able to just write off this entire area is so, so good. I guess you haven't written off the Valley Hammer Rocks, but...
Nothing in the center chest, so equipping the mirror shield, pretty good idea of what they're going to do next, I dare say.
Interesting that he's putting G for Roars.
Yeah.
Uh-oh, no toilet.
Wow!
Not even doing horseback archery.
No interest in toilet.
Oh, of course they're not doing horseback.
Right, with Fortress Foolish, it's actually really interesting, because that is 2 checks. That is the toilet, and then potentially later on coming back for the Valley Hammer Rocks. And that's it. So that's an interesting place to leave that one. I feel like Spirit would be more valuable. And at the same time, if he's going over here thinking, you know, at this point you almost feel like you're more likely to find a hammer because of the songs it locks, then it kind of... At that point you don't care as much about leaving it in spirit because you know Requiem will be available as soon as you get the hammer.
I don't know about this. There's a realistic chance you go into spirit and you immediately can't do anything because you need CL. So you'd potentially want to put it in spirit instead.
But then if you have ZL, you also have Requiem.
Yeah, but like if Requiem is in the graveyard, that's what, 40 seconds to go and get it?
Right on cue there. Yeah.
You mentioned the strength 3 at the same time, yeah. One spawning the chest while the other opens it.
Yeah. I think Sponge might change his mind here. Continuing. He thought about it.
Come this far. I mean,
I think he's probably
end up playing Spirit.
Honestly, he's got to be pissed at that.
I think he's recasting Frostwind. I think his plan was to go to Spirit, see how far he could go, and if he gets locked on that one check, just leave and not worry about it until he's got ZL. And as soon as you get Zelda's Lullaby, you can get Requiem, you can just warp over and continue and not care about the Frostwind. With that added in, I think, to be fair, I guess that's still the play.
Yeah,
I guess that's
the play.
Yeah, that part hasn't changed. It's just now you're like, but I also want to go to Ganon's.
Yeah, look at the swag from What the Hells. He's just popping off here. Yeah, I think if you give the seed to most people, they probably should be mad at it at some point. So I wouldn't blame either of the runners. If you're not mad, I would be shocked.
You could run this in a qualifier with 150 people, and not a single person is going to get that bomb bag from the Deku tree first. Fucking
seems unlikely.
Scale into Kakiri's sword to get that bomb bag.
I feel like it's the kind of race where one person would do it and everybody else would be mad because they're spending the entire time thinking, someone's done this, someone has lucked out and done this, and they're just going to crush it. Which, in a 1v1, is even scarier because you're like, the odds of that happening are so low. But if they did, you know you're like, if my opponent did do this, I'm like 20, 30 minutes behind. But, like, they're so unlikely to have done it. Do I ever play to that? Probably not.
Alright.
Requiem.
It is Requiem.
Wow.
So Temple of Time has CL.
Confirmed now. A little bit of archery.
Yeah, dual archery. Like to see it.
Met up, yeah. Met up down at the shooting gallery, yeah.
This is going to be vanilla, just based off the rest of the seed so far.
The last bow.
Expecting a bow upgrade. Nope, just arrows.
Close.
Close.
Yeah.
Haven't found any other bows, so that Skullmask bow was really required.
Mm. Alright, so both are heading over to Ganon's, and then the question on both sides is, where next?
Yeah, I mean, they can both full clear Ganon's at this stage, and the benefit for What the Hells is that they're probably just immediately going to play for Auror's Wind, find the hovers, and then do Shadow. Sponge, I don't know. I mean, ultimately, Boomerang could be in here, and they could then just head to Jabu, potentially pick up their hammer on chess minigame.
Right, this is still incredibly close. Like, if Sponge, after Ganon's, goes Child and goes to do chess minigame, then Sponge has to do that into Fire, and that's what the Hells has over Sponge at the moment. Sponge has most of Shadow over What the Hells, which comes from doing the rest of the training grounds. So, like, those two, I would say What the Hells has a little less to do. All of Fire is pretty big, not to mention picking up the songs on the way through. But
this is okay. They're just going back to GTG. They don't want anything to do with Ganon's.
Oh wow!
What a play!
I mean, it's
Not
gonna.
rushing Ganons. I mean,
They're
Just
gonna get
picking up
song,
Prelude?
which is
Doing the check and picking up
Okay.
Prelude of Light here.
okay.
Why now?
Yeah.
I mean,
You were
that's I guess the wrong question. I guess they're doing this means they're not going to do Ganons.
But I mean, where would you go?
Sure, you do
okay.
Ganons and then just warp and get this song, right?
I don't know. I think there is one argument to doing Ganons second, and that is that you can Feroz Wind out of Ganons at the end of it all to go back to the training grounds and already have Prelude. Whereas if you do this afterwards, you then have to find somewhere else to use your Feroz Wind to get back to Gerudo training grounds.
Yeah, I guess that's fair.
He's really just hoping to spike the boomerang on the chest again.
All right,
Let's see
Lytro.
what Lytro. Yeah.
Get rid of those shadow keys.
I can't remember who pointed this out forever ago in chat, but like, why is the Spirit Temple the one with all the light puzzles and the Shadow Temple is the one with all the ghosts?
I have absolutely no idea.
Like, that feels like it's the wrong way round.
4, nothing so far. Water Temple? I guess this is fine.
Gotta do it at some point, I guess, yeah.
Yeah.
Thinking time.
There's literally nothing else they could need to do it, so... Alright, 6 checks, that's the winner heart piece.
Ooh, wow. I mean, that's a huge find.
That's 7 checks and nothing.
Can I just point out 10 hearts versus 6?
Yeah, only 44 seconds on that old timer there for what the hell is, so not the most comfortable water temple they're ever going to have. But they do have a Zora tuning, if they need it.
Where do you think the BK is going to be in water?
Dark Link.
Okay.
If it's Foolish Water, we gotta get Dark Link in there somewhere, right?
So what you're saying is rush Darklink?
What do you think, Chin?
I'm just going to go vanilla.
I think it's going to be on the central bow target. Just a bloopy to start things off here in Water Temple. So far, nothing in Ganon's, though.
Yeah, Ganon's looking like bait so far, so what the hell's potentially getting a massive payout by not investing their time here.
I don't see how long What the Hells could skip it for, though. Like, unless... I guess if you go over and get the hovers and then go and beat Shadow, and the Rang is just, you know, in the tail end of the Shadow Temple, like, yeah, sure, great, but, like, if you... Even if you do that, or if you just, like, go for your best kind of density plays before going back to training grounds, like, Ganon's is too good right now. There's way too much. I don't see how long you could skip it for.
I think Ganon's over GTG is pretty good, so I'd be surprised if What the Hells went GTG first, but it is the right option.
I think the argument
that pays out.
The argument would be Feroz Wind. If you Feroz back to GTG, clear that out, then you can leave it in Ganon's afterwards.
True.
But
yeah,
that's about it. And even then, it's like the Rang has to then be in Shadow to not go to Ganon's.
I kind of like that line better just because of that. But, I mean, more along the terms of how long checks take. I mean, I think it's a lot shorter, right, to just clear up your GTG, and then you get the added benefit of clearing your 4Rs. So, I mean, I think for me, that also makes sense just in terms of time perspective. I mean, you just have to do the bow checks pretty much for What the Hells. I mean, that's basically nothing, right?
Also, point in chat there from Cola. Yeah, Spirit is also a reasonable argument over Ganon's because it opens up storms.
Speaking of which, Sponge is back in Spirit. Nothing in Ganon's console.
It's your next best Sponge option for you, so
But again, further and
One check.
further away from that hammer.
It's potentially just the
Yeah.
one check. If this isn't,
Yeah, honestly, for Sponge, the best thing that they could possibly see here is no keys. If they find a key here, this could legitimately be pretty bad for them.
I mean, I think Noki is probably what he wants to find right now.
Yeah.
I mean, in the moment, he definitely wants the key, obviously, but to get caught up, I think he has to find Noki here.
What we got? And that's not a key.
Some sticks.
Straight out again then.
All right, where are we going? There's boss key.
Oh! It was in central bow target. Look at that.
Dipping into fire?
Fire is bold.
This feels like a cleanup. This feels like Sponge being down to, pretty much single-digit checks at this point.
Yeah, they
And-
don't have much.
You've got to find the hammer somewhere. It could be at the start of fire.
But we know this isn't the key, so somehow has been kind of lucky in the sense that they can't do any of spirit or any of fire. So
There are a lot of locks right now in this seed, which is working out well for Sponge because it just means, yes, I think at this point he's behind, but he just needs like 1 or 2 good calls once the seed opens up and could just race ahead in no time.
thing is, though, we still have like 5 or 6 different places that the fucking boomerang could be at this point.
Yeah, a couple of them chain together. Like, you're not going to go... so they're going to beat Shadow because it's progression, and then you have to beat Spirit before you can do Bottom of the Well. So a couple of little things chain, but yeah, there's actually still a surprising amount open.
Alright, so is Sponge going back Child now? This looks like they're heading to Child.
Has to be, I think. I don't know what else there is.
It's a great Morphic kill for What the Hells, by the way. Got the quick door frame kill. It's always nice to see, especially with Big Round Sword.
I think the scariest thing in this seed has to be late Zelda's Lullaby, by the way, because we're talking about, Spirit into Storms, and you've got Ice Cavern, you've got the rest of Shadow, but it could just be the Death Mountain Trail Fairy. And at what point do you go and check that? That's so far out the way at this stage.
Did What the Hells check that?
I don't think so, because he didn't have Zelda's Lullaby yet.
Yeah, of course.
Until,
Yeah,
like,
they
recently.
haven't done the ZL checks
It's-
around that area, so...
So many Lullaby checks just scattered everywhere.
Oh, that's Prelude. Ganon's? Yes.
Makes sense.
So-
Makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, so definitely avoiding GTG for longer than we thought they would at this point.
I guess the kind of thing with Ferora's Wind earlier, this kind of makes sense both ways. If you do GTG over to Ganon's, you get to free up your Ferora's Wind to leave in Ganon's castle. And if you do Ganon's castle first, you then get to cast your Ferora's Wind to go back to the Gerudo training grounds. So either way, it kind of works out pretty neatly.
Bonus check, by the way, is outside Ganon's castle, which Sponge could not do.
Right, couldn't without Zelda's Lullaby, yeah. More ZL checks scattered around everywhere.
Alright, big pose. Big nose. No
That's
boomerang
a
there.
whole lot. Although now we're effectively 24 hearts play 6 still. And
I'm not saying it, chat. Not saying it.
I don't do bad memes.
Not saying titties, dude. I'm not doing it.
Oh, emo.
Oh, shit. Well, that's bingo for me. Sorry.
Wow, what a piece of shit.
The sabotage, damn.
I've been really good. I could have said this is still a very close race 22 minutes ago and got bingo, but I was holding off. So you know what? I've said it now. There's bingo for me. Fuck you all.
I feel like I did say that about 22 minutes ago.
Oh, you have to call it out. I don't know.
Insider trading.
I didn't get a card. I was just here to subvert everything. I was just waiting for the Baronade fight so I could be like, that was a decent Baronade. Good fight. Moving on. Not saying the line. But no, now we're all here. Just finishing your own cards, apparently.
All right, and Sponge is about to get their hammer.
Honestly, I would be surprised if this isn't Sponge's last check in Logic.
Yeah, I can't think of many more.
He just cleared out...
Toilet.
Hasn't done toilet, that's true, actually.
Aggressively avoided at all
That's
costs.
true. But yeah, otherwise, like, there is not a lot left, and that hammer opens up so much at this point that I wouldn't be surprised to see Sponge take a couple of small risks here. Sponge isn't usually the type of player to take, you know, big risks and, oh, my opponent will have done this, so I should go and blank. But if there's ever a situation for it, this is it, right?
I'd be surprised if Sponge cleared the rest of Fire like What the Hells did. I think at this point they're going to feel really bad about that hammer and probably just leave the second they get the boss key.
Boss key is so deep though anyway. It's in the compass chest?
Yeah, but even, as you said, small risks. They're going to take some small risks, and that is the definition of a small risk in terms of there's only 2 checks left, but you're like, you know what, fuck it, I need all the time I can get.
Yeah, that's true actually, and I think there's still a key left at that point, so it's like you've got 3 checks left in the dungeon at that stage. One of them's a key. You go and beat Volvagia and hope that's one of your checks and hope the other's dead.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could see that.
Well, meanwhile, What the Hells is almost finished with Ganna's Castle here. I think we did see Shadow's second with Sponge, didn't we?
Yeah. Sponge, I think, actually just cleared everything except for the Light Trial Zelda's Lullaby one.
Alright, Feral's Wind is equipped, so... Wait, why is Feral's Wind equipped? They haven't done the center of...
Oh, yeah, actually, that's a good question. Is this using it to leave, or is this resetting it here?
I'd assume it's to go back to DTG, but it's... I'm wondering if it's an early equip just because this is their best chance to just equip it before the going up the center, but... If they place it in Ganon's, that would be quite concerning.
While I always see a bit of repeated content, I have to step away for a second, so I will catch up with you all in a sec.
That's fine. Reminds me to quickly thank our trackers today, Purple and Karam. Thank you for tracking the last Season 4 race. It's certainly been a fucking doozy so far.
That's what we want. Come on.
Yeah, honestly, this is perfect. I'm not complaining about the seed whatsoever. It sucks ass, but it's also been fantastic to commentate on, fantastic to watch. We've got, how many viewers we got at the minute? Something like 782 viewers watching this hot mess. So,
Yeah. Thank you all for watching, for sure.
and I got a line in bingo. So, you know what? Ultimately, I'm pretty happy.
Yeah, me too. Oh, and What the Hells is back in GTG. Here we go.
pick up those hovers. Go straight to Shadow.
Yep. I mean, wouldn't see it any other way here.
Yep, there is the slight step of hesitation. Equipping the Feror's Wind, place it down, and immediately get the hell out of it. So, if Boomerang is in the back of Shadow, then what the hell's wins? I think quite simply, there's no way that Sponge comes back from that. But if it's not in the back of Shadow, then it could be any ZL locked check. Could be an Ice Cavern, could be in Spirit, could be in Bottom of the Well. So there are still plenty of big choices to make in this seed if the Boomerang is not in Shadow Temple.
It's like shades of yesterday's season, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, yesterday it came down to Light Arrows just winding up in Spirit Temple, but if Light Arrows were anywhere else that could have been pretty Monka-esque, then it could have come down to the wire.
Alrighty.
Welcome back. What the Hells has their hover boots. As expected, immediately bailed out of GTG.
Didn't clear the rest of it then. Okay.
Nope.
Put down Feror's there.
Yeah, put Feror's down left, which I think is the perfect thing to do. And like I said to Emo, if the Boomerang is not in Shadow, then we still have a very open race.
Yeah, absolutely. There's a lot of decisions to be made with the Zelda's Lullaby, with Storms, with everything that's open here, so... Shadow would obviously decide it.
Too.
Yeah. At this point, with Requiem and Zelda's Lullaby, going through all of Spirit, if they have to go back as Child, that makes that a little more costly.
Is there anywhere that Sponge has done that What the Hells hasn't? Outside of Domain, which I think is the only place I can think of.
And these Shadow openers.
This Shadow section.
Yeah, so they've got Shadow, they've got the rest of GTG, and Domain. I think it's practically it in terms of what's left.
And I guess the flip side to that is, what the Hell's done that Sponge hasn't, which I think is pretty much just this progression.
Yeah, it's the rest of Fire, it's Water Temple.
We're definitely trading progression right now until what else gets to... I mean, where did Sponge stop necessarily? Did you just stop at the boat?
Pull the shortcut block.
No, ZL also had to stop at the boat.
Right. I mean... I think they're gonna pretty much line up for the most part. Like, Sponge is gonna be on Volv as What the Hells passes him.
Yeah.
On the boat, so...
Couldn't have possibly known this at the time, but What the Hells is going to save a little bit of time just because we know that the Jabu, unless they do it to find the Boomerang, we know we don't need to do the Rang chest in Jabu, which Sponge did way earlier. So they do have that over Sponge.
Yeah, that's definitely the biggest thing right now is, like, which of the things that Sponge has done can What the Hell skip? That's kind of going to be the big difference maker in all of this. Because if What the Hell's from here goes back, finishes GTG, goes to Domain, goes into Jabu, then Sponge, at that point, I think it's probably ahead if that happens. I think the odds of that happening are quite low. And it's a question of how much does What the Hell's do?
Dude, what would you go Ice or would you get to Bottom of the Well? Because I think Spirit is the next play for both of them after this, and I don't think many people would disagree with Spirit being the best play. But would you then do Well or Ice?
So weirdly, I think if you do Spirit, you do Well straight away. I don't think that's a question. I think if I went into Spirit as adult and it was locked, I would then go to Ice before I went back Child to do Spirit. Which What the Hells doesn't have that option. That would be very much in Sponge's position. What the Hells would have to go Child to turn in the letter and do Child side Spirit. And at that point, I think you do Spirit and Bottom of the Well. But yeah, it's an awkward one because of how Spirit can be split.
Alright, so Sponge is, I want to say, minute and a half away from their boss key, maybe 2.5 minutes from being Fire Temple. Boss key in water was not too far in, central bow target chest. What the Hells has about, 6-7 minutes left of Shadow Temple at this stage? So, I want to say that What the Hells has a less than 5-minute lead on Sponge at this stage.
Yeah, I think I'd agree. And that's kind of, I guess the point earlier is like, just getting to domain and doing all the checks there probably eats that lead. At which point, suddenly it's all up in the air. It's just a question of whether What the Hells does that before finding the boomerang somewhere else.
I'm so confident that What the Hells will not get the boomerang. Will get the boomerang beforehand. And also, Sponge getting knocked off here sucks.
Where was that for us set?
That was in Ganon's, I think. It's not the end of the world, but that is a bit of lost time.
Yeah, that's definitely an unfortunate one there. If it's in Spirit, I think it's a little less costly. I don't know if that was in Ganon's Spirit or Training Grounds. He left it in Training Grounds at one point. I just don't know if he reset it again in Spirit or Ganon's. But yeah, if it's in Spirit, it's not a concern because you just get Requiem.
Sponge definitely forgetting about Pierre here, unfortunately for him. I mean, it's only going to amount to a minute and a half or so, but that's still time.
Yeah, time that they've both screwed up with, because I think they're right there.
I don't think What the Hells has. I think that was, was that in Domain?
Yeah, it wasn't. I'm pretty sure it was in Domain.
Oh, was it Domain? Okay.
But yeah, not getting the time save on Sponge's side.
Is this all dungeons? We do not know. Could be.
Can't really forget. I mean, what's the word for it? Can't really blame him for not remembering this one. I mean, it's kind of a throwaway sometimes, a lot of the time.
Being a key as well is one of those awkward ones, because you might write it as dead or a key, and if you write key, then you have to remember whether it was a small key or a boss key. And
you write dead, it could have just been a small key. You're like, okay, yeah, that's it.
Oh, what the hell's going to get a hug? Nope, just avoids it. Alright, and Sponge is getting the boss key as What the Hells gets to the same point as Sponge has to leave Shadow. I do think that Sponge is going to bail here.
I can definitely see arguments for bailing. Like I say, the fact that there's one key left, I think is the biggest thing.
Oh. This looks
These
like
are equips regardless.
This is
Big Goron's, that's a bail, yeah.
To be clear, T Grenadier, I don't mean bail from fire, I mean bail from the rest of the checks.
Yeah.
Let's go to Voltage and finish.
Also, it's really interesting seeing, starting a discussion about like writing hints and tracking how people write keys and stuff, and people brought up the pressure of like grand finals and stuff. It is interesting that, and I think, maybe this is, I always thought this was like a just me thing, but maybe it's not from the way people are talking about it. When you're feeling pressure in a race, the first thing to go is your note taking. 100% of the time, like note taking just kind of, you get into autopilot habits and maybe you forget to write something for half a second, then you eventually come back to it like, oh god, I needed to write this, but you were so caught up on everything else. And
yeah, not only note taking but note reading. Even reading the notes that you have took, you're like, no, I'm in a rush, I can't read these. I've done that before. I've sat there with a notebook full of important information, like way of the hero this area, and I've just not looked down at my notebook for 2 hours because I've been in that much of a like precious scenario. I just forget that I have really important things.
We had a fun conversation the other day with a couple of friends about the first multi-world tournament, and the first race our team was in was a restreamed one, and I shot the sun, saw a hook shot when one of our players was still missing a hook shot, and I just walked away. And at the end, people were coming into the interview like, was this because of the logic, and that can't be a hook shot locked behind long shot, or was this was it just a gamble? Like, what was it you were doing? And I was like, oh, I read the hint 5 minutes in and just forgot.
Oh, no. Yeah, I mean, it happens. I mean, it doesn't even have to be that high profile of a matter, right? It happens all the time in racing.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. For those who don't know, by the way, Soda, absolute hero when it comes to note-taking.
Hero's a word. Yeah.
I think anti-hero is probably better.
Yeah, I think anti-hero is the perfect word.
They are. It's
Notes
the
are way
Pepe
to hero, what can I
Sylvia
say?
memes. Like,
I keep a clipboard. I have one piece of paper for every seed that I complete, and I have kept every note sheet ever. My drawer is getting full, but I'm filtering.
Your PS rats in shadow feels good.
right. So this is going to be an interesting moment for Sponge. I've got to assume he's just going to go straight back into Shadow, and at that point we'll see what the time difference is right now, pretty much. Okay, pick up Zelda's Lullaby and then go into Shadow.
Yeah, of course they don't have prelude, so it's not slower than What the Hell's because they had to do the same thing, but obviously no quick way there.
I mean, yeah, they both have to do this. Zelda's Lullaby over in the temple, locking the prelude over in the graveyard, so...
Are we going to see spin strats for bingo? Nope.
Boo.
So anyone that had spin strats on their bingo card, get fucked.
What is this? Anti-spin, no fun zone. What is this?
Gotta go fast. The speed matters more today.
Oh my god.
Wasn't on my card today. Feels good.
Yeah, what the hell is definitely trolling here?
That ain't it.
Slingshot.
So, it's casino time, baby.
Oh, it's that time of the day.
It's
We're ending with that
season.
S4 special.
Mm.
Where is our last needle?
My channel points are sweating right now.
Back walking. Where is their Thrall's wind? I want to say it's GTG, right? So they're just going to go.
Yeah, back in. So that's some of that time lost.
Mm-hmm. Okay. It's good for Sponge. Unless they're staying it again and then playing Requiem.
Gonna be.
Which would be weird.
Yeah, that would be.
That would be fucking
wild.
Nonsensical, but.
This is gonna come down to the wire though. Like, they're already kind of. I wouldn't say side by side, but there's not a huge amount of time in it. And on top of that, the person who's currently a little ahead has more potential to lose time. Like,
I mean, the bonus is that What the Hell's actually has done a lot of GTG. So they don't need to spend too much time in here. Whereas there are a lot of overworld ZL checks that What the Hell's has done over Sponge because they've had it for a significantly longer period of time.
yeah, not a huge number, but definitely a few, yeah.
Yeah, and water, of course.
Water is, yeah, probably the biggest one at that point.
Toilet would be wild. I can't believe we've seen 4 dips of GTG now and still haven't seen Toilet, even though it is available from the very first one.
Yeah.
We've also seen 2 different matches this tournament bracket, no less, that were basically decided by, oh, how many times did you go to GTG? Oh, what did you miss in GTG? Like, it's kind of crazy that it could come down to that yet again,
Shoutouts to what the hell's having 4 arrows.
Do not miss. This is such precise aiming, so cautious.
Best part is that I'm pretty sure this is a bundle of arrows.
Yep.
Spend 4 to get 10. Feels good. That is a profit of 6 arrows. Alright, Sponge is now almost finished with Shadow.
So what the hell's only has the central check left, and that cannot be a key because of the logic. So he didn't go to the toilet there.
Yeah, I mean, he still could afterwards, but I'd be surprised if he did at this stage, which is still very bizarre.
Yeah, if you're gonna do it, I think you reset for Wind there, so that you can warp back out from the center of the maze. I'm really surprised by that.
I guess if you go into here and it's boomerang, and then all of a sudden you've done toilet first, you feel pretty bad. Also, welcome to ZSR4. We've now had raids from every single other ZSR channel.
Wow.
Welcome in.
Achievement unlocked.
Skipping toilet. What on earth is with the hatred
It's
towards
ice.
toilet? They've both done chickens.
Oh, this can't be
Skip
ice. He hasn't
toilet
turned in the letter.
half the time.
Is this
No,
just the
this
two
is-
fairy fountains?
This is the fairy fountain and the... Well, yeah, they're both fairy fountains at SC. I'm still surprised by the lack of Spirit Temple, honestly.
A little surprised,
But
yeah.
I do understand checking ZL checks, so this is... To me, this is absolutely fine.
Whoopsie.
I think the other thing with this is, like, it's the kind of stuff that you can pick up very quickly on your route, and Spirit you have to sink a lot of time into. And if it's just here the whole time, you're going to feel terrible knowing that you could have just taken 10, 20 seconds to grab it on the way through. It kind of ties into, like, the density. It's a low number of checks, it's only 1 or 2, but in terms of checks per second, it's some of the best in the game you'll get right now.
Yeah. See, at this point, I'm kind of... I'm struggling to see a way where Sponge comes back, because I think the What the Hells is going to go Spirit pretty soon. I'd imagine Sponge is going to do the same thing after Water Temple, and both of them, after doing Spirit, are probably going to do Bottom of the Well, and then Ice. So, just with the advantage of being ahead, yeah, this is as What the Hell's plays
Spirit play, yeah.
I just don't think that, unless Sponge makes a play...
Ice would be it.
Yeah, unless Sponge goes to Ice instead, or What the Hells chooses Ice before Well, or something like that, I'm struggling to see a way in which Sponge comes back into this.
Did What the Hells check the Valley Hammer Rocks while clearing out the training grounds?
No. They didn't have Hammer.
When he was there a minute ago.
Oh, wait, no. Oh, sorry, I thought it meant Sponge, yeah.
No, yeah, when What the Hells was there a minute ago.
Was it hinted dead? I thought it was the...
No, it was Goron City left.
Yeah, I don't
dead,
think Hammer Rocks was hinted dead. I think they just forgot.
Yeah, so I think that could be something that puts it to Sponge. That is one of those little things that could work out well for Sponge.
Oh, but why would Sponge go there? Like, they've both
Clean
left
up.
and
Yeah.
Hammer, so they've both got the exact same checks. Whereas What the Hell still has For All's Wind in there, Sponge doesn't.
Right, it would be a question of cleaning up. If Sponge decides to do basically all of the overworld before Spirit, then
That'd be good.
that would be...
Crazy check. Gerudo Valley Hammer Rocks before Spirit.
I think it would be a play to basically feeling behind at that point.
I'm feeling behind. I've just got my hammer. Let's rush. Gerudo Valley Hammer Rocks.
It would be all of the overworld and then Ice, and you just commit to not doing Spirit or Bottom of the Well.
Is this a
That
key?
is not what's happening.
It's not a key. We are locked from Adult Spirit.
So this is close here because Sponge only has to do that one, and then we'll leave.
They both have Prelude now, too.
Yeah, they've both got all their songs. They've both got everything set up and ready to go for this. So, yeah, Sponge has to do the Compass chest here. What the Hells has to do this Boulder one, and then they're both going to go Child and do that, or they're going to go to Ice Cavern.
Yeah,
those are the two big options.
That's an immediate prelude.
So What the Hells has to go Child has not turned in the letter. So What the Hells does not have a choice on this one.
Yeah. And I can't imagine them... I mean... Are they going to hand in the letter before they go back to Adult Spirit?
That is a big question.
I
That
want to say they will, because they have Serenade and Scales, so it's not too long. They could just dive, place Feroz Wind in Jabu, and then leave.
If he does that, does he check domain while there as well?
Ooh, good question. They do have Dins, so Torches isn't too bad.
At that point?
They are no longer a boomer when it comes to domain checks, so they might actually choose to show off their new fancy domain swag strats.
No boomer, but also no boomerang, so...
Hey.
At that point, Sponge is ahead, though, right?
They've still got water to do.
True, but...
And domain is quicker than Water Temple, because ultimately, that's kind of all Sponge has at this stage over What the Hells.
Mm-hmm.
And Din's Ferry, this makes sense.
Yep, just another one on the way through.
I'd be half tempted as What the Hells to check the castle's second hint here.
No.
It was still missing away the hero.
It's too likely that it's something you've already found.
What hints haven't we seen? Back a Lake, Fountain, ×2, Castle 2, Castle Storms. So 6. Did we see DMC hint? I think we did. Actually, no, we did. I recall one person checking that.
Okay.
Alright, Child Spirit. So, makes sense. I guess you could leave immediately, but do you just do a bit more of Child Spirit because you know you're going to do it as adult anyway?
I think you'd leave. I think you just, as soon as you've done these 2 checks, you get out of there. I think the big thing here is that What the Hells is going to play Serenade to go and turn in the letter afterwards, and then from there play Prelude. Whereas Sponge can obviously just immediately Prelude and go adult.
Part of me thinks that doing Child Climb is actually faster than doing those checks as adult.
I feel like it's kind of a risk. Obviously, if the boomerang is there, it's great, and those are 2 fairly fast checks, but going through the whole thing as adult in one sweep is faster because adult movement is faster. So it's small differences here and there, and it kind of just comes down to the placement. But if you're going to end up doing everything, then it's faster to do it as adult, I think.
Yeah, possibly. I'm just thinking of, like, if you do Child Climb as Child, you actually don't need to go onto the right side of... Sorry, I guess it'd be the left side. You wouldn't need to go onto the Child side of Spirit at all until you long shot it over towards the hand. So you do that, and then you could do the Sunblock room and essentially avoid that whole area. So I'm not sure.
You can do that. You can kind of do that anyway, though, because you leave a Feroz Wind after the adult climb, go over and do the map chest into the child climb room, and then just use the Feroz Wind to get back and continue up.
Okay, so no letter here from What the Hells. They're just going back to Adult Spirit, so we are going to see essentially the exact same play from both of them.
Yeah.
I'm not really surprised by this.
No.
He wants to one-trip Jabu if possible. It's just... I don't know. Unless you want to open up Ice Cavern, I think he's just hard avoiding Ice at this point. I mean,
Yeah,
you can't really blame him, though. Spirit's just right here on a silver platter for you, right?
Yeah, no, I think doing Spirit is absolutely the right play.
And into Storms as well. That's what, like
Yeah.
30 checks between the two?
And then you can... Oh, well, hopefully you'd have ring at that point, but at the very least, in that child segment, you can just then turn it letter.
Again, though, I do think this is bad for Sponge, because I think they are essentially now going to do the exact same things.
It is worth noting as well, though, we've been saying this whole time, like, oh, what the hell's done Water and Sponge hasn't? Sponge has done, you know, a pretty slow section of Jabu that what the hell's hasn't. Like, it isn't just Water. There is that Jabu dip bringing Ruto up to the top level that comes into play.
Yeah.
It's not enough on its own right now, but it's something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All time saves here as well. Sponge got this fast push, or fast block release.
Last bow in here. Where do you think would be the best and worst locations for either runner for ring?
Ooh.
I think Sponge wants it in ice.
Sponge wants it anywhere that's not in Spirit.
anything adult, fountain, or ice, I think. Because that means what the hell's has to go child, turn in a letter, go adult. And that time...
There it is! There it is! And that, I think, is GG. I see absolutely no realm ever where Sponge wins this.
I
can see it, but you'd have to have some serious mistakes on what the hell side here. I mean, it's a pretty straight shoot.
But it's close. Yeah, it exists, but it's in what the hell's favor right now.
I think it's going to be like a sub 5-minute finish between the two of them again. It's going to be something that close, I think. Which for, I mean, grand finals game too. That's not, you wouldn't want it any other way, you know?
Which chest was it?
Oh.
Child
Central
climb.
Bow has... Oh, the rank, yeah.
So you could have kept going and then would have really paid out, I guess, but...
Yeah, chat pointing out that I would have saved 2 minutes for everyone just doing adult climb.
Yeah.
Sorry, child climb. I'm not claiming anything.
For what it's worth, that was more defensible in what the hell's position, but Sponge had no reason to do it because he had to be adult to do water anyway, so...
Yeah. Okay, Sponge, how are you routing this water temple? Because it's very important.
If he goes Dark Link, I mean, that's just going to be too bad for him. I could see him doing it too. I don't know what direction he can go. Yeah, I mean, really depends on what he thinks about water routing, right? Some people would go just straight Dark Link.
I don't think so. Not for Boss Key. If you were looking for a way of a hero item, I think you do, because of the logic of only one key locked behind the key doors.
Yeah.
But if you're looking for Boss Key, it can just be anywhere. So...
Okay.
Yeah, I totally agree with that too.
As soon as Sponge spawns on the lake, that is the difference between... Pretty much the entire difference between the two of them, because what the hell still needs to catch up a little bit in terms of handing the letter in, getting to that point in Jabu.
I'm just going to save a little bit of time with that 4 set. It'd be pretty nice. I mean, at the same time, I mean, what the hell is about to enter domain here? It's closing the door rapidly here.
Where do they have furrows, sorry?
Sponge just set it in water, so...
Oh, nice. Okay, so the boss
saves to save quit or what have you.
Nice. Yeah, I would like that forward win placement.
I mean, I know they both play on Virtual Console, right? So... Bigger deal than it would seem, I think.
Yeah. Okay, don't forget your fish. What the hell's? Don't get rid of something.
Imagine just staring into Jabu's nose with no fish.
Drinking a po feels good.
Drinking Poes brings back memories for me.
Ah, yes, childhood po drinking. I remember the days.
Well, more of just the fact that almost every single time it heals me, right? And then the one time it's OHKO, dead. Dead. Just immediate death. I'm just like, all right. Still better than Plentiful, though.
Oh, this is Dragon Chest. Uh-oh.
That's...
Well, I think if there was any chance of...
Yeah, that's...
He's officially dead.
That is one that Sponge has mentioned that he does quite a lot as well, because you've got Barren Water and the boss key's just over on the Dragon Chest. You save a ton of time, and if it's not, you don't actually lose a huge amount. The amount that you get to skip by doing Dragon first as opposed to last is, the entirety of Water, but the time it takes to do Dragon isn't huge.
Yeah, I mean, we're like a minute and a half away from what the hell is getting to the ring chest, so
yeah, not far at all.
He's not even gonna open it, right? So I'll
and
bet.
Yeah, and the fact that like saying, oh, the time it takes to do the Dragon Chest isn't a lot. Well, not a lot of time is still kind of matters here.
Yeah, it's in a game of benches, every millimeter counts.
Not only that, but they just had to use Thrall's Wind. It hasn't reset it, so any advantage they had with that is now dead. But they have gone straight into the central bow target here to push that once. No central bow target swag strats. So Goomba is not pleased.
Actually, kind of surprised by that one. I guess it's saving the extra equip.
I mean, it saves like 15 seconds, right? So the extra equip is worth it.
Yeah, unless you want these equips for afterwards, but you don't. So yeah.
Well, they have the boss key either way. See, I'm always a fan of just setting Thrall's Wind in the boss key room. Heading over there, popping that there, don't need to worry about water levels or anything like that. Just set it in the boss key room. As soon as you find the boss key, straight there.
I like that. Yeah, I'm a big fan of that one, actually.
What the hell? Gets to avoid some pretty shitty rooms in Jabu. No one likes those bubbles spawning in a horrible manner and one of them just sticking on the ceiling.
Wait, so if I'm reading this correctly, you have to be French Canadian or French Canadian to win a tournament. Is that correct?
Is
Yeah.
ATC
Yeah.
Canadian?
ATC is Canadian.
Well, there we go. I guess
Yeah.
that's accurate.
French Canadian or French Canadian. Yeah.
So, sorry, Emo, you stand no chance. Unless you're French lineage from me.
I do have ancestors from France, but don't think that cures a smooth brain, unfortunately.
Not the best morpher from Sponge there. But it is dead, so Sponge just needs to do Jabu as well. This room in Jabu absolutely sucks, and there honestly, Z targeting this fucking thing is one of the worst things in the game.
It's that when you target it quickly and throw the rang immediately and it just like goes off behind you, you're like, can you come back? And then of course the tentacle, you dodge it the first time and it just drops on you again. It's like, yep, great, cool, thanks game.
Yeah, for the rank throws specifically, I'm still a big fan of like staying just outside the range of like where the tentacle like drops down, right? So then you just throw it as it like comes down, just backwalk, and then you just kind of go forward a couple spaces.
Just
with
like
your feet.
Inch
Yeah,
in and out.
At least that's the most consistent for me. To kind of like avoid the dumb rank throws where it just goes out to Mars. Oh,
Nice.
Sabruta rage. Yep, okay.
Not the greatest Jabu from What the Hells, I think he will not be ashamed to admit.
Probably feeling pressure. I mean, he's been wanting this win for a very long time, so cannot blame him.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but Sponge did the Ganon's tower climb, but what the hell's didn't, right?
I mean, they both don't have Feroras there anyway, so.
Well, no, I'm just saying, like, it's because
Sponge did the climb, and I don't think what the hell's did.
I'm not saying this matters. I'm just trying to sort of
Yeah.
work out how close they are.
Difference, yeah.
Yeah. So obviously, Sponge has already done this opening part of Jabu, so what?
Tentacle fights and then getting here, yeah.
3 minutes?
An unexpected nosebleed away from each other.
What?
Though at this point, I would just let it bleed. If it were me.
I will pretend to know what is happening.
Yeah, no, yes, I agree.
I sip of my pineapple and raspberry cider and pretend that everything makes sense.
I wish I had cider right now. Oh man, imagine my commentary.
Semi-drunk grand finals bingo. What a place to be. Alright, let's see how clean the Baronade fight is. Get your scorecards ready.
Yeah. Will it be clean or will it be dirty?
Dirty Baronade. Sounds like a cocktail. I'd drink that.
Dirty berry.
We'll figure out how to make a dirty Baronade at some point before season 5.
Dirty Barry, however, does not sound like a cocktail.
That sounds pretty creepy when you put it that way. Don't.
Nice, looking clean. Very nice. This is probably perfect. As long as it stays near the wall. Nice. That's a 10. I'm holding up a 10. That's a pretty spectacular Baronade fight. A round of
It was pretty.
Baronade.
It was pretty error-free.
Yeah, no, that was a really good fight. Just a nice, good Baronade fight.
I genuinely don't know what's on people's bingo card to do with Baronade, so I don't know what I'm supposed to be saying.
Didn't happen, it's gone now.
That's fine. I mean,
It's over.
I don't need to reference Baronade again, so never mind.
Yeah, so after this clean Baronade fight, what the hell is gonna go to Ganon, finish the seed off?
Emo, you
And that'll be that. I mean,
so much.
I'm satisfied. I already got my bingo.
I mean, I've got
Okay.
one line. Technically, we know earlier when I said that I didn't have Greg on my bingo card, I actually did and just didn't see it. So I could have 2 lines, but because I think this is too far away to officially say Greg and it counts.
Played yourself.
Yeah, I did play myself pretty hard. But I've got 1 line. 1 line's fine. And there is my middle square of somebody finding the boss key in the Temple of Time. Thanks for the longest middle square of all fucking time. It's a good question, Rob. And I'm very curious as to what that might have been. Trez might be able to unlock it afterwards and find out for us. Although saying that, what the hell's is probably in chat right now, and if they were really nice and a really good Season 4 winner, that whilst we're waiting for them to catch up, they would boot back the seed in and go and check the rest of the hints for us. That would be wonderful if they were potentially in the chat.
I'm fine never knowing. It'll keep me awake at night.
Well, I'm glad that's what you're into, Emo. So yeah, as we can see, essentially half a Jabu behind. So 3 to 4 minutes. unsure if Sponge is going to finish the steed. It'd be nice if they did, but honestly, if you lose the grand finals, I wouldn't wouldn't be surprised if you're just not feeling super up for finishing, but we'll see. Meanwhile, what the hell's nice and clean Dynalphos fight, heading into the Stalfos. I do miss, you know what, I do miss Marco's light arrow strats here. I do think they're really swag. Not even checking, so if this was an async, they would be disqualified.
What up on the heart count by the end, though? Remember, it was 6 and 12, and now we're at 12 and 12. Like,
somehow we evened up on that one. Letting themselves down on the Iron Knuckles. 8 out of 10.
Yeah, they're both going for box skip and Jabu. See if we can nail it the first time.
Nope. Misses it. Unfortunate. I think, I can't remember who it was. I think it might have been Cola that I asked once how much time that saves. And I think if you miss it once, you officially lose time on doing it.
If you get it second try, it's about the same amount of time. Yeah. But honestly, I think that's a lot easier than people realize as well. It's basically the same movements as B1 skip in Deku Tree.
Sorry, finish.
I was just going to say, yeah, like, I feel like people hear you have to press A on the right frame to open the door and go, oh, it's really difficult, but you just kind of mash it and it'll work.
I relate that trick to the compass chest in Water Temple, where you have to roll past that water fountain and to unlock the chest.
Kinda, yeah.
Which is free, but I also see people fail it all the time. And there is a very good one cycle from What the Hells.
Mm-hmm. I think, yeah, it's a lot like that one, although the timing is... I feel like the compass one changes given where the water is, whereas that one is just always the same timing, and yeah. A lot easier than I think people realize.
Yeah.
I just grab the box every time. Fuck it.
Yeah, same.
Never.
Almost perfect marination Sponge there. Chat giving him a 9.5. I think that's reasonable. And here, I'm not going to do an August 40th because I'm not as good as they are at this. But here's Ganon. Minutes away from our Season 4 champion. Provided we don't suddenly get a crash. Which would be horrendous.
Why are you trying to curse them, Chip? Why are you trying to...
I mean, at this point, no one's pinged us in a...
Be a shame if they crashed here.
It'd be a real shame. Someone, if Ganon just fell through the map.
Yeah.
That'd be great, though.
I mean, yeah.
He walks outside the fire, you just see him walking around in the background like, no, come back.
Yeah, when are we going to randomize Ganon into chests, right?
Alright, one cycle away. Everyone, prep your hypes, prep your GGs. And there it is, the last strike on the tail. What the hell's happened? 30 seconds away from being your Season 4 champion after 3 seasons of not quite managing to pick up that gold medal. They have raced an epic race, and what the hell's happened is your Season 4 champion.
Very strong showing from both runners. A very close match.
Yeah, huge congrats to both of those. Sponge, you know, people said, really just kind of shot up out of nowhere over the last couple of years to become one of the best players in the community, and What the Hells has been one of the best for a few years now, and finally clinching that main tournament win.
You can't see it, but yeah, now you can see it. They brought this up in the top left corner of their stream, but now it's just fantastic. Drinking that whale milk, real good. And of course, we will hope to get both of them in for an interview. Sponge, finishing up here. Commiserations to the Salty Sponge, who has been phenomenal during the tournament.
And welcome to What the Hell's Happened.
Okay.
Congrats, GG.
Congratulations.
Oh my god, thanks.
How's
Thank
it
God
feel?
there's 15 minutes. Thank God there's a 15 minutes so I can actually talk right now. Oh my god.
How does it feel? Yeah. Season
I
4
don't know.
champion.
It's weird. It's weird to like give so much importance to this, but it's almost like I feel like I can breathe. It's just crazy. I don't know. It's if you told me after season 1, after I lost to ATZ, because season was kind of just chaos. It was just the first tournament. If you told me like, yeah, in 4 tournaments you're gonna come back and win, I would have told you, dude, shut up. I'm gonna quit Rando before that. And I'm happy I didn't, because I love this community and I love OT. I don't know what this.
It kind of, in a lot of ways, I feel like it feels like it was a long time coming. You know, a couple of us have spoken before about almost like the gods of Rando, and like when season 1 happened, there were kind of 4 or 5 players. Season 2 certainly there were like 5 players who were the best players, kind of outright, and you know now we've had 4 of them winning 4 seasons, but obviously with you it came so close so many times. And
Yeah,
I guess-
after season 2, I was happy in season 2 because I beat Bono and Marco to get there. But then like losing that hurt, because like, wow, what are the odds that I can come back to Grands another time? And like I thought for season 4, I'm gonna go like super positive. I'm gonna try not get annoyed at anything, just stay focused, keep practicing and learning new things and thinking differently. But like I didn't think it would actually go this way. Like I was hoping, but that with this would actually happen. Like if you told me that before the last weekend of quals, the last 3 quals that were like a Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and then I was aiming for top 5, because if you remember, things were kind of chaotic in the top 10. Like everyone was moving around, and I got first on the Friday and second on the Saturday. Then it was like, wait a minute, I can finish first in quals, and I had never done that before. So then that happened, and then the following day I look at my bracket. I'm like, wait a minute here. Like, no offense to any players, but I was looking at my bracket and I was like, there's a path here, because there's no Marco, no Sponge, no Bono. Like, this is possible. So that last weekend, I think, really is what in my mind was like, wait, there could be a chance it could happen.
I think it was really interesting, you know, kind of looking in at the players who were really performing in those early quals. It definitely felt like, in particular, kind of the top 3 seeds, you, PKR, and Mr. Mario, kind of just instantly clicked with Season 4. Obviously, a lot of things were changed, a lot of stuff kind of toying with a lot of things. I know you were a huge proponent for at least random spawn going into, you know, long before Season 4 was on the horizon.
Yeah, that was extra motivation too. Like I was like, oh, I really like this part of the settings, and I really want to get into this.
Like, how much do you think you then had to adjust to how everybody else picked up the settings, and how much do you think that early analysis stayed true throughout?
Because I pretty much played S4 settings ever since the first tests, like in October. And I've been doing like 2-3 seeds a week, basically all the time. But like once the quals started, like I was really nervous. In my first 2 quals, I played so bad, and there were a couple like just practice races that I got wrecked because I made like some really stupid decisions. So I thought, okay, I'm just gonna try and keep it more simple. Like if I can dip a progression dungeon, I'm just gonna do it. I'm not gonna try and optimize and see like, no. Let's just keep it simple. Do the things the seed can give you. If the seed gives you cuckoos, you do cuckoos. If the seed gives you skull mask, you do skull mask. Like maybe it's not the play that has the highest peak, But with the season 4 settings, I thought, for me at least, it worked out, I think.
I would say it worked out pretty well. Yeah.
Yeah, just while GG's to Sponge, who is now finished. Unfortunately, won't be joining us for an interview, but I think everyone in chat, everyone here, and what the hell's included, can just say massive congrats to Sponge for getting to the grand finals. Commiserations on not picking it up, but yeah, I think that was an amazing race.
Yeah,
just want to say GG's to Sponge for making it this far, and hopefully they take this on the chin. They're going to be a little unhappy about the loss, of course, but hopefully they take it on the chin, back for season 5, and we'll see where we go from there.
Yeah. And of course, an incredible showing. Like we were talking earlier about Sponge's bracket run was just killer after killer the entire way. So, yeah.
Yeah, and I want to say, I don't know if Sponge is going to watch this, but like, I love Sponge. He's a beast. And I hope he comes back soon. And I hope we can race again. I love the way he thinks about the game and his motivation level. He's just a hype dude. So I hope he's going to be okay soon. And we can race again. Hopefully SGL finals next year.
Pretty hype. Yeah, I mean, he's made huge strides in just the past year, and even before that, just to make season 3 brackets. I mean, he didn't start that much sooner than it really started. So, I mean, with that in mind, I mean, it's hard to catch up to the players that have been playing OoT just in general for a very long time, years, in fact. So, I think just with that taken into account, I mean, he's a phenomenal player, and expect to see him in the next season bracket for sure.
Absolutely. But yeah, so obviously, what the hell's you had to take a loss going into the losers bracket. So how did you sort of feel about the rest of the tournament after that and coming into the grand final, the grand finals?
You mean once I was in losers?
Yeah.
Well, the following day after I lost the Sponge, I was like, oh man, that's another opportunity that I just blew. But I was confident. I mean, I'm confident I can beat anyone, but I was confident I could beat PKR. And then we had that crazy seed with strength blocked by AD. But then, like, okay, I gotta play Sponge twice. And it's almost like I know it happened to me twice that my opponent came back and beat me twice in a row to win the tournament. So it was almost like, oh, I just gotta do what they did. Let's just do this. It's almost like there wasn't that much pressure yesterday. Because it's almost like, well, I lost in finals before, so what's the worst that can happen? I'll just lose again. So,
I mean, and we haven't even spoken about this seed, which was honestly ridiculous.
yeah.
Why?
Not sure how you felt about running it, what the hell's, but for us watching this, it was absolutely insane, this seed.
You're
Yeah.
welcome.
Thanks a lot, Trez. No, but all the ambiguous stuff, so scary. I said yesterday, I don't want Requiem on OoT again. Let's give us Storms and a bomb bag on 30 for ambiguous. How's that? That was horrible. How did Sponge, did Sponge get the bomb bag?
Sponge got the Deku Tree bomb bag at 28 skulls.
Oh my god.
He still picked up the 30 skull bomb bag too. It's not like he wasn't going to pick it up, I guess. I mean,
Some bonus information for you, what the hell's. What you don't know is that both scales were vanilla.
Oh, Domain, let's go!
So Domain had the other
You
scale.
skipped Main again, and
So you need to get the scale from Fishing to get the scale from Domain, which are both vanilla, to get the Kokiri sword from
Oh,
Land
shit.
Guide.
Nice.
Just quickly, want to say, by the way, that that the missing Way of the Hero hint was again Kokiri Forest, because it was double Kokiri Way of the Hero.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
amazing.
yeah, I figured it would be that.
Something we've already seen, at least. Ah.
at least it was
So
a CAC, right?
So yeah, what the hell? Congrats, you actually managed to not make a random Jimbo 69 win the tournament.
Yeah, the prophecy didn't happen. Oh man.
Yeah, just massive congrats. That was really, really incredible to watch. There were times where we were not sure who was in the lead. There were times where Sponge was in the lead. There were times where you were in the lead. I'd say probably the big thing is the hammer which I dare say you can imagine that being quite a crux for this seed. But Sponge found that quite late in comparison to when you found it. Did have the boomerang first, but only by like 45 seconds because you were Spirit around the same time. So the big difference really was the hammer.
Wait, so we skipped chess minigame?
Yeah, they didn't have magic.
Basically, last location did. It was like one of the last 2 or 3.
Yeah, Sponge's next child cycle, they didn't have magic because they didn't do Dodongos when you did, which was essentially straight away as soon as you got a bomb back.
Wasn't there another magic?
Like yeah, but it was in GTG, and they didn't go to GTG for a reasonable amount of time. I think they just they crossed the wasteland but didn't do GTG because they were missing. What were they missing that you had? I can't remember.
At that point, it was bow and strength were still missing.
Yeah. And, speaking of strengths, which were like the strengths and the bombs were ridiculous this seed. Obviously, the bomb bag on 30 was ambiguous, but then there was one in Deku Tree which you could have avoided. There was one in the Tektite Grotto, and you could have avoided get 30 for that too. And then you found who was it that found the first strength? Yoshimo.
I think it was strength was. Checking the notes here. Well, it was Haunted Wasteland, Market, and Forest. The first one was Haunted Wasteland by what the hell? It was 121.
Yeah. So you found that first strength, and we were convinced that Sponge was kind of screwed because they went across the wasteland without magic. And we were like, well, that's really bad. And then I want to say about 30 seconds later, they found a strength in Bomb Tube Bowling, which was nuts.
And then took that straight to Skull Mask, so had the bow as well, and was just like off to Forest, and
which was
just walks into the second, which meant that the Wasteland one kind of didn't matter for a while.
Yeah,
that was a crazy sequence, like bowling, the strength, and then lens minigame, hammer, and then a bow on Skull Mask. I was like, what? Do I still want to do Deku Tree? Do I just rush? But I thought, I might as well just do Deku here.
Yeah, my favorite trio of items, by the way, was fire arrows into ice arrows into light arrows, which was possibly the best thing I've ever seen in rank.
Also, I missed the Goron pot on purpose for the bingo card people. So it was all on purpose. So I hope people got bingos from that.
That's why I
didn't try. Third try.
Yeah.
But you also
didn't quick.
You also didn't do spin strats on Bongo, and you also didn't use a bottle on Ganon. So you can't say you did things for the bingo people and then.
No, but I did a quick spin yesterday on Bongo. I was like, they get the pot today, not the quick spin. They just get the pot.
And you got hit by a keys, which helped a lot of people out.
That's a square. Wow.
Someone being hit by a keys is a legitimate square, which you resolved.
Which, with no one going to Ice Cavern, is, kind of a tough one to get.
I was scared of Ice, because I was fully committing to Spirit into Well, and if that was empty, I hadn't even shown the letter yet, so Ice was going to be the last possible thing.
We were wondering if you were going to hand in the letter when you did Child's Spirit, but ultimately made the right call, didn't bother wasting the time on that one.
And coming down to the end, we definitely said, if it's in Ice, that's Sponge's best chance here, because you'd have had a couple of age changes in between, but Sponge had already dipped the rank chest quite early, so had already turned in the letter and already had that set up.
Yeah, I thought of setting Ferraros and Jabu, but then it was a little bit like, what's the point, really? And then that might force me to do Domain, or think about doing Domain, and I kind of just wanted to avoid that.
All right. So that was a season 4, friends.
It sure was. That was a season.
It's over. I can't believe it. What the hell?
Yeah, it also was the fastest season we ever had.
Mm-hmm.
Let's go.
We actually managed to get through a season under 5 months, which is really nice. And one reason why we did that is that I have to give a massive shout out to the Season 4 organization team. As you all know, before this season, there were some massive changes in the Discord and some massive changes to the community and to the community structure and to my team. And thanks to ATZ and a few really, really dedicated people that made up the S4 tournament organization, namely Chimp, Cola, Krim, Drew, Gavaroni, Jason, and our finalist today, TheSaltySponge. We managed, plus I forgot one person. And that was the guy with the numbers, Maraxis, who created a super easy, simple formula. And yeah, these lads had massive impact on how Season 4 went down, and I'm really happy how it turned out. I mean, y'all know the numbers, how many qualification participants we had. We had over 300 people that played at least one qualifier. We had a massive bracket with all the ups and downs that came. This was a great tournament and one that went really smooth. We tried something with changes. We changed up the rules, and we will change up the rules more, I imagine. But I think it went really well, and I couldn't be more grateful. The Challenge Cup is also still going, and the next Challenge Cup will be today, I believe in 30 minutes. Yeah, actually in 30 minutes. And the Silver Gauntlets will host that one, and that was another change that we did. I'm pretty proud with how this went and that they are going. And also, today we tried something else and had the Go Mode podcast, the Gossip Stone podcast before the stream, and I hope you all liked it as well. Soda and Chimp, you did great. Yoshi, Purple, and oh dang, who was the second tracker?
Karam.
My bad. Karam, sorry. Did so great as well. And yeah, can't believe it's over.
Yeah.
When is Season 5?
Next month? Let's go.
I mean, you need
No.
to select the Season 5 org team first, Trez.
Might have a couple things in the way of that at the moment. Couple other things to do first.
There's a few more things coming up first. As you all know, there's the Multi-Road tournament starting soon. The release of Multi-Road 2.0 is around the corner. This time for real. There is DDR coming up with some competitive season. I believe there's more.
We're going to try and have an announcement this weekend, hopefully.
Ooh.
And something that you won't have known what the hells but happened during this race is that we met a sub-goal for the winner of Season 4 versus Trez with the spoiler log.
Oh shit.
So that's now you. Congratulations on being drafted into that race.
Damn,
I
alright.
believe if we get a few more subs, that's turning into a glitch.
Could be a close one. What else? Could be a close one.
Could be. Let's go. Let's do it. Plus money match.
Well, no. I'm out.
Come on.
I'm out. I'm out.
Come on.
No way. Okay, no, I have an idea. Winner gifts 50 subs to CSR.
Winner?
Loser gives 50 subs to CSR.
Is it very easy to lose that one?
So no matter what I do, I win. That's good.
Kind of close.
Slightly weighted in your advantage, Trez, I'll be honest.
But yeah, I couldn't be more grateful for the community that I'm allowed to lead here. And before I get like all... Oh, wow.
Shit.
Yeah, guys, thank you so much. Thank you so much. That was quite a few. You all are amazing. This tournament was amazing. More stuff on CSR with OoT is coming up in the next few weeks. There is also Spike doing the weekend tournaments now, together with Cops and guys, the team. The Gossip Stone podcast will come up with the next podcast very soon, so I heard. And also, so I heard. Can I spoil this, Chimp and Soda? The return to Spotify and Apple Podcast. I just spoiled
I
it.
didn't even know that. I
I
guess
don't know if it's done yet, but yeah, it'll come in the future.
Yeah,
just to make it a little bit more handy.
we're close. So we're close. Yeah. There's so much coming soon, and as said, I'm just grateful for being a part of this. And now I'm gonna shut up, and everybody else can say something because I've been talking for like I don't know, a billion hours now. So
I was going to say as well, we only confirmed yesterday that we're aiming for the announcement next weekend, but we're aiming for the announcement next weekend on the other little behind-the-scenes project we've been doing, so
Oh shit! Behind the scenes. Ooh.
there might be more competition coming soon.
Oh god.
By which, I mean, I guess I'll stop being cryptic about it. I'm sure a bunch of people have seen that we've been testing a league system recently. We're going to try and have sign-ups open for that next week. There's a couple of things still left to wrap up first, but we're going to try and have a league system with sign-ups up and running next weekend.
Oh shit! Nice. Infinite rando.
there will be some automated system for that in the future, but not yet.
We'll do it manually for now, and we can figure that out in the future.
Yes. And I'm really hyped about it.
Also, Sir NyQuil with 10 more gift subs. Pog.
Holy shit! Where are we now? Did we meet the sub goal already?
Excellent.
Oh no, we're 12 subs away. So what the hell? If we get 12 more subs, our match will be glitched logic.
Which logic? What the hell?
Which basically means that Trez doesn't stand a single chance.
I don't know. I'm pretty rusty on glitches, and you got to know once you get the bomb bag, everything is Sphere 1. Every check in the game.
Yeah, but this is you rusty at glitched logic versus Trez. And there's no level of rust that is ever going to be as bad as Trez and
I don't know.
logic.
Well, okay.
I think
Okay.
Trez has been he's been practicing in secret. He's been practicing.
I mean, you're not wrong. I actually have been, but
Oh, damn.
not as much.
Trez for S5.
Yeah, as said, we had too many Canadian winners and French winners, so it's time for German reign again. That sounded wrong.
Yeah, I'm not going to make jokes about the German reign here. Let's end up season 4 on a high and not on a TOS.
Okay, and before ZSR getting banned, thanks for everybody for watching the final ZSR stream on Twitch. But yeah, you're all amazing. We're only 9 subs away from this. So okay, now I know somebody wants to do it. So go for it. I'm gonna wait for it.
Wow.
All right, chat. Should I get burritos or sandwiches for lunch? What do you think?
What's in them?
Does it matter?
Yeah, because you can have really shit sandwiches.
Go for a burrito.
If
I
all
get a
of
burrito.
I want an egg and cress sandwich, then I'll be like, well, obviously you want a burrito. Then.
So that I will never understand you, but also burritos.
That's actually,
Okay.
yeah, Purple has the right answer. Burritos for dinner and sandwiches for lunch tomorrow.
Yeah. I'll have to take account later. See if it sways my opinion.
Oh shit, we've got a poll.
Okay,
shit.
so
Oh my
oh shit, oh shit. Okay, the person donating or gifting another 9 subs is gonna have 10 votes on this.
Near 500 people deciding what soda has.
Surprise! 9 subs, you get to slightly decide harder what Emo eats for dinner.
You get to slightly decide harder. Okay.
It's $45, you get to decide what Emo eats.
Wow, what a deal! I mean, that's a game I play every week.
Yeah, let's aim for 50-50, so he has to eat both. On stream. Live.
Oh wow, it might take a few. It'd take like an hour, but you know.
Social eating.
We've already confirmed that your webcam works, so we're halfway there.
That's
Burritos
fair.
won by 11%.
All right, I'll get Chipotle, guys.
Is that the next podcast episode?
Social eating?
Yeah, you know, taking notes while playing Rando. Right now, eating while Rando. That's the next level. It's really efficient. You can play 9 hour seeds, no problem. You just eat and play.
Actually,
No,
yeah. I
Rush
did math
Man
wrong.
half-assed a burrito.
I feel so damn lost right now. What are yours?
Anyways, I also want to give one more shout out, and that's to TheSaltySponge, who decided to leave early because I can imagine after this wild ride, it's gonna be tough to just miss out on the victory on the first tournament where you actually had a great chance for victory, just like that. But they still deserve all our support. They're a great asset of the community, as I told you before, and as you guys said before here in this cast and in this channel, he became one of the big ones, and that's an achievement on its own. So yeah, chat, spam this more. Spam this more.
I keep talking
Good,
about
good.
like ATZ, Marco, Bono, what the hell's Duke are like the 5 gods of Rando. Like
Oh, wow.
they have the 5 gods of melee. And in that case, Sponge is Leffen. He's like the person who can compete and just came in a bit later. Like,
Wait, does that mean
So-
Duke is going to win season 5?
And then
something tells me that's not happening.
So does this make TheSaltySponge Leffen?
Yeah, Sponge is Leffen in
Or
this.
just Leffen? Okay. All right,
definitely
everybody.
on the tier list anyway. But...
All right, everybody. I think it's time to wrap up here. It was a great season. We're gonna be back with more OTR content in the near future. So much more. And maybe a new version really soon. There's a lot for OTR to come this year. And ZSR will not have no content without OTR either. There's gonna be a Link to the Past Randomizer, the Challenge Cup that's starting up, and Multi-World, and DDR, and the OTR League soon, and all this stuff. And now we're gonna send you over to the Wind Waker Randomizer, who has their own tournament season 4 coming up as well. So there's a lot to come. Palm Tree, thank you so much. We did it. So what the hell? We're gonna play Glitch Logic.
Palm Tree, what do you want Emo to eat?
All right, friends. I don't even know what to say anymore. Thank you all so much for being here. We hit over 850 viewers without front page. I just want to say at some point, and that's amazing. You all rock. Take care.